The cultivation family. I begin by taking a concubine and practicing the art of the sun and moon. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 126 Magical Instruments and Intigues. Why are you looking for Grandpa? Grandpa Chang Yan, I want you to refine a magical weapon for me. Zhou Daocheng expressed his thoughts directly. He has always used formations as his main means of combat, but he has never had a powerful magic weapon. This is equivalent to a weakness of his and needs to be made up for. Zhou Daocheng is a first-level high-grade weapon refiner. He has devoted his whole life to refining weapons. His skill in weapon refining is superb, so he is naturally a very suitable choice. Zhou Daocheng touched his beard and asked with some surprise, Daocheng, you are so powerful, haven't you ever had your own magic weapon? Zhou Daocheng smiled and said, there are a few magical weapons that I obtained accidentally, but they are mainly used for defense. I am not particularly suitable for them. Hearing this, Zhou Daocheng nodded and said seriously, no problem, although my skills are not as good as the jade, but there is still no problem in refining a few first-level high-grade magic weapons. What type of magic weapon do you need? Zhou Daocheng thought about it for a while. He had an idea for his own magical weapon. The most important thing was to match his technique. So he replied, Earth attribute, 1 attack and 1 defense. It is best for the attacking magic weapon to be long range, and the defensive magic weapon is best to cooperate with the formation. Zhou Daocheng frowned slightly. These requirements were indeed quite troublesome, and they were not something that ordinary first-order high-grade magic weapons could satisfy. After thinking for a while, he said carefully, Daocheng, you have a powerful aura and focus on defense, and the combat method is mainly based on formations, without the need for close combat. So as for defensive magic weapons, I think heavy armor magic weapons more appropriate. As for the offensive weapons, I suggest mainly using bows and arrows. They are highly lethal and flexible enough to be used in various tactics. What do you think? After listening to the opinions, Zhou Daocheng considered it for a moment and found that the two did meet his requirements. So he agreed, just refine it according to Grandpa's idea. Just ask me for any materials you need. Zhou Daocheng waved his hand and said with a smile, it doesn't matter, I just brought some weapon refining materials this time, which is enough for you to refine the magic weapon. Just come and get it in 2 months. Zhou Daocheng was not polite and said, then thank you Grandpa Chang Yan. There is no need to say thank you. We are connected by blood, and you are the pillar of my Zhou family, so refining a few magical weapons is of no concern. Zhou Daocheng also smiled. People of the same clan and clan really don't care much about interests. Arrangements were made for several members of the Zhou family, including the 7 children they brought, to be placed in the underwater cave, just enough to learn weapon refining from the elders. The 4 of them, Daowen, Dixiu, Qingxi, and Qingshu, still live on the island and are taught by Zhou Daocheng himself. Life returned to calm. Balin Lake and the valley developed in an orderly manner, and Zhou Daocheng also returned to the underground cave to practice. He has now reached the peak of the 8th level of qi refining, and is only 1 step away from the 9th level of qi refining. If he can break through as soon as possible, he can also start preparing for foundation building in advance. However, after returning to the underground cave, Zhou Daocheng took the lead in checking the situation of the spirit-eating ants. As the most potential combat force in his hand, Zhou Daocheng cared about them very much. Not only did he use the spiritual fertile soil to rebuild their nests, but he also provided a large number of spiritual resources, hoping that they could reproduce as soon as possible. Arriving at the spirit beast room, the place was completely filled with spiritual fertile soil, and had been built into a home by spirit-eating ants, with large and small caves extending in all directions. Zhou Daocheng also had a general understanding of the entire ant colony with the help of the spirit-swallowing ant queen. Through this period of development, the ant colony has regained its vitality slightly, and the first batch of eggs have begun to hatch, but the number is relatively small. There is nothing that can be done about it. It is very different from ordinary ant colonies. Spirit-devouring ants are spiritual insects, and their reproduction consumes a huge amount of spiritual energy. Therefore, it is difficult for the queen of spirit-devouring ants to produce a large number of ant eggs at one time, especially in the early stage. The population is already scarce and unable to supply sufficient spirituality honey, which makes reproduction extremely difficult. Even though Zhou Daocheng provided artificial spiritual honey, the queen still only laid 20 eggs when the first batch of spirit-swallowing ants hatched. There are still dozens of days left before full hatching. Zhou Daocheng entered the ant nest and checked the condition of the 20 ant eggs. He found that the vitality was quite strong, and through the white outer skin, he could see a faint purple breath flowing out from the inside, which should be derived from the innate purple energy. Zhou Daocheng is also very curious. What changes will happen when the spirit-swallowing ants completely absorb the innate purple energy? Will it be like beetling bamboo, which will essentially improve its grade? Or will it slightly change the characteristics of the spiritual insect? All in all, the innate purple energy has been integrated into the bloodline of the spirit-swallowing ant queen, but what kind of development it will develop in the future, Zhou Daocheng is still worth looking forward to. Afterwards, he took out a portion of the spiritual honey again and gave it to the second-order male spirit-swallowing ant, asking him to collect it and use it to replenish energy for the queen ant. The ant colony is still too small now, and this second-level male spirit-devouring ant is the main laborer. Whether it is collecting spirit honey or guarding the ant nest, she is solely responsible for it. At first, this second-level male spirit-devouring ant was very wary and showed intention to attack Zhou Daocheng. However, after being disciplined by the spirit-swallowing ant queen, he has become much docile now and can obey Zhou Daocheng's orders to a certain extent. After confirming that there was no problem with the ant colony, Zhou Daocheng left the spirit beast room and returned to the training room to practice. Nowadays, many earth essence grasses are planted in the training room, giving the aura and the air a hint of earth attribute. Practicing in such an environment can slightly increase his practice speed and warm up his body to a certain extent, with very good results. However, Zhou Daocheng frowned and opened his eyes after only a few days of practice. There were too few earth essence grasses, and the earth attribute energy released in the air was too little. After only 2 or 3 days of absorption, it was completely absorbed. Zhou Daocheng deeply felt that with the earth essence grass, his practice speed increased by 20% to 30% in the past few days. Earth attribute ore has the same effect as earth attribute practice resources, which can increase one's practice speed. If you can practice in a rich earth attribute environment all the time, your practice speed will definitely increase significantly. But it's a pity that there are too few earth essence grasses. Zhou Daocheng couldn't help but sigh. At this moment, an idea suddenly emerged in his mind. Since the earth attribute aura is so important, can we use the formation to artificially create an earth attribute environment? Zhou Daocheng immediately started looking for a suitable formation. After searching for a while, he finally found a defensive formation in the first-grade superior formation, named Thick Earth Formation. The original function of the formation was to use the earth attribute aura to condense a thick defense to resist attacks. The function is somewhat similar to the Earth Defense Formation, but the effect is better. It consumes more aura, and the defense strength is correspondingly stronger. Moreover, the inside of the formation is also full of earth attribute aura, which is very suitable for cultivation. However, the pure thick earth formation is not suitable for cultivation, because the earth attribute energy in it is also limited and difficult to maintain for a long time. However, if the thick earth formation can be integrated with the gathering spirit formation, it can continuously convert all the non-attribute aura into earth attribute aura, thereby supplying the operation of the thick earth formation. In this way, not only can an environment suitable for cultivation be created, but the defensive effect of the thick earth formation itself can also greatly improve the safety of the cultivation environment. The more so, Zhou Daocheng really thinks this method is feasible, so he immediately began to try the formation fusion. The fusion of the thick earth formation and the gathering spirit formation was not particularly difficult. After all, The first fusion formation Zhou Daocheng tried was the fusion of the Earth Defense Formation and the Gathering Spirit Formation. He had already mastered the process. Chapter 127 Special Spiritual Fertile Soil. It took him several days to integrate the Spirit Gathering Array into the Thick Earth Array to create a Thick Earth Spirit Array of better quality that can continuously absorb spiritual energy. However, there is still a serious problem now, that is, the lack of array materials. Zhou Daocheng did prepare a lot of auxiliary materials for the first-grade top-grade array, but Zhou Daocheng had never heard of the first-grade top-grade Earth attribute core material required for the Thick Earth Spirit Array, Deep Rock Thick Soil. However, after thinking for a while, Zhou Daocheng's eyes lit up and he thought of another high-quality soil in his hand, fertile spiritual soil. This kind of soil used by the soul-devouring ant colony to build ant nests has a wide range of quality, from the first grade lower to the first grade upper grade, and the quantity is huge and rich in spiritual energy. In the original plan, fertile spiritual soil has two functions in total. First is to help the ant colony build new ant nests. The second is to mix into the spiritual field to improve the quality of the spiritual field in the valley and expand the scale of the spiritual field. Zhou Daocheng thought about it and found that in addition to these two functions, the fertile soil is also a high-quality soil-like treasure. Can it be used as the core material of the formation? At least in his opinion, there should be no problem. However, the two completely different soils, fertile soil and deep rock and thick soil, have different characteristics, which may lead to different characteristics of the final formation. Zhou Daocheng immediately took out a large amount of first-grade high-quality fertile soil and made a preliminary attempt. The change of materials requires corresponding changes in the refining process of the formation plate, including the process of array pattern arrangement, which has also undergone slight changes. If it is an ordinary formation master, it is naturally impossible to make changes and adjustments, but for Zhou Daocheng, these are not a problem. It took 10 days for Zhou Daocheng to successfully make a set of thick soil spiritual formation plates. But after using it, Zhou Daocheng immediately discovered the abnormality of the formation. In theory, the thick soil formation made of deep rock and thick soil is extremely hard and thick, and the defense is very terrifying. However, the new Thick Earth Spiritual Array, made of fertile spiritual soil has a much lower hardness, but has become more flexible, and the spiritual energy inside is also more concentrated. If used as a defensive array, the effect is naturally reduced a lot, but if used as a cultivation array, the effect is more than one level higher. Moreover, Zhou Daocheng was surprised to find that the fertile spiritual soil itself is a kind of soil with a soft texture and strong plasticity, so it can be used to build ant nests. If it is used to make an array, as long as the array pattern is slightly changed, the soil can be reshaped in the Thick Earth Spiritual Array, and built into different shapes. This is an ability that the original Thick Earth Array never had, and it is a unique effect brought by fertile spiritual soil. This magical phenomenon made Zhou Daocheng try it immediately. After just a slight adjustment, the Thick Earth Spiritual Array changed into the shape of a mud house, and the appearance was still very delicate. But after a while, Zhou Daocheng changed from excitement to speechless, because he suddenly found that this change seemed to be useless. Who would take a first-level superior array to need mud when he has nothing to do? This is really too naive, and it has no practical effect. Forget it, let's just use it as a cultivation array. Although the defensiveness has decreased, the cultivation effect is unexpectedly good. Zhou Daocheng thought to himself and reluctantly accepted the changes of Thick Earth Spirit Array. As he entered the array to practice, he could clearly feel that the surrounding earth attribute spiritual energy was much richer, and it was easier to absorb, which greatly increased the speed of practice. If he could maintain this speed of practice, it is estimated that it would only take 1 year to break through to the 9th level of qi refining. While Zhou Daocheng was busy practicing, Meng Yushan and Lin Yuan had also resumed their lives as casual practitioners. The two people with stronger strength are now like fish in water. If it weren't for Zhou Daocheng's task constraints, the two would have been happy long ago. In order to better hunt monsters and find suitable hunting team members, The two chose to go east. The closer to the direction of the east great wilderness vein, the more monsters there are, and the strength of the casual practitioners who hunt monsters here is also stronger. So when they first arrived here, they clearly noticed that the strength of the cultivators in this area had improved a lot. And the number of independent cultivators was also much greater than before. The two of them also roughly understood the reason. As the eastern border of the King Shan sect, this place is a relatively remote place. Many independent cultivators who want to avoid war will go here. Therefore, in the past, there were no cultivators in the place for many months, but now there are cultivators. However, not long after, Meng Yushan vaguely noticed something unusual and frowned, saying, "Old Lin, don't you think there are too many independent cultivators? And many teams don't seem to be composed of independent cultivators." Lin Yuan held a spiritual grass in his mouth and chewed it slowly, saying indifferently, "If it's not independent cultivators, then who else could it be? It seems that many teams are well equipped and closely coordinated in battle. The number of people is generally 8 to 10, and they are all led by strong people who have 90% of chi refining. This should be a hunting team of a small family or small force." Zhou Daocheng speculated. Lin Yuan thought for a while, nodded slightly, and said in a low voice, "This is not difficult to understand. The King Shan sect started a war and transferred many foundation-building masters from the family, causing many small forces to complain. In order to ensure family inheritance, many families sent a group of people to leave the family and secretly go to the vicinity of the East Great Wilderness. This can be regarded as preserving the fire and opening up a new path for the family. This is a very normal thing. Although Lin Yuan is usually unreliable, he is also a senior leader of a team of independent cultivators and has a thorough understanding of the overall situation." Meng Yushan nodded and said with some concern, "These family hunting teams are quite strong. I hope they don't do anything weird." Lin Yuan curled his lips and said indifferently, "I still hope they will be honest. If they provoke us, let Lao Qin go back to his old business and catch these family forces to fleece them and make a fortune." Meng Yushan was speechless for a moment. Did he really think it was so easy to be an evil cultivator? Killing people and robbing treasures is a technical job. You need to have enough luck, ability, technology and experience to be able to play it. Otherwise, you will be like Qin Lai in the past. He was caught by Zhou Daocheng when he was halfway through his business. If he had been a little more ruthless and cut him with one knife, the grass on Qin Lai's grave would be 3 meters high now. No, according to the situation at that time, Qin Lai would probably not be buried. If he was exposed in the wilderness, he would become excellent food and eventually natural fertilizer, returning to the land where he was born and raised. Stop talking nonsense, and complete the task of the young master first. I know, but we can't just catch casual cultivators in the mountains and forests, right? We have to find a way to understand the situation, Lin Yuan said helplessly. Meng Yushan said calmly, "I have arranged it. Let's find an old friend to understand the situation first." "Old friend?" Lin Yuan asked in confusion. "Who?" "No, Lan, your old lover?" Under Lin Yuan's stunned eyes, Meng Yushan quickly sank into the lush forest. A few hours later, the two found a hidden cave in the dense jungle. The cave should be naturally formed, narrow outside and wide inside, looks extremely irregular, and has not been artificially repaired at all, and is extremely inconspicuous. As the two approached, they heard a cold shout, "Who is it?" It was then that he noticed that the ground around him was actually covered with a layer of formation, which should be a broken first-level low-grade defensive formation. Although the strength is not high, it can serve as a warning and inform the people in the cave in advance if outsiders approach. Out of courtesy, Meng Yushan did not rush forward, but shouted loudly, "It's me, Meng Yushan." After more than 10 seconds, no one appeared at the entrance of the cave in front of him, but several monks crawled out from another more hidden cave. Meng Yushan showed a surprised look and secretly sighed. This cave looks ordinary, but it is actually connected in all directions and has hidden mysteries. "Come in." Meng Yushan and the others walked into the cave and found that there was something else inside. Chapter 128. Zhalan, The cave itself on the ground is actually just a cover to warn others approaching, not the real hiding place for this team of casual cultivators. The real cave is actually deep underground. In the soil under the cave, a large space was dug out, which can accommodate 6 to 8 casual cultivators, just enough to meet the needs of a hunting team of casual cultivators. Although this place is very secluded, the overall environment is not very good. Not only is there no aura, but you also sleep in the dirt all day long. Meng Yushan felt quite emotional. This is the normal life of a casual cultivator. I think back then, he also lived such a life. Because he couldn't afford a residence in the city, and he didn't have the ability to occupy a spiritual vein, he could only find a secluded place to live in the wild, just like the situation before him. Just as he was sighing in his heart, a stern woman walked out of the dark cave ahead. The visitor was wearing a tight-fitting black outfit, outlining his proud curves, and his voice was as cold as a spring. "Fellow Taoist Meng, long time no see." Meng Yushan smiled lightly, cupped his fists and saluted. "You're fine." After just saying hello, the atmosphere became a little awkward. Although the two were old friends for many years, their personal relationship was not that deep, far less than that of Lin Yuan. They had already crossed the last boundary between men and women and reached the level of a higher level of life. Meng Yushan turned his head and pursed his lips toward Lin Yuan, signaling Lin Yuan to say a few words to ease the atmosphere. As a result, when he turned around, he saw Lin Yuan, who was carefree. His face was slightly red at this time, and he was hiding behind him slightly. Suddenly, Meng Yushan's head was covered with black lines, and he almost kicked him. "Why are you so shy at this time? Isn't it usually very capable? Why is it wilting now?" Dao Lan obviously also noticed Lin Yuan behind him, glanced at him coldly, and proactively said, "The surname is Lin. You have been missing for a year, and you are not dead yet?" Lin Yuan's expression froze. He scratched his head and said, "That Lan, I disappeared for a year for my own reasons. No need to say more. I have already set up a tomb for you. Go and lie down." After saying that, he ignored Lin Yuan, turned around and walked towards the depths of the cave. Lin Yuan scratched his head in embarrassment, but still followed them. After all, they came with a mission this time. Coming to the inner room, it was a dark and damp small room with a wooden table and a few old chairs. It should be the meeting room of this casual cultivator team. "Alan, why did you choose this place as your residence? Is the environment too humid and dark?" Meng Yushan asked. It is inevitable that Meng Yushan would have such doubts. In the past, when they were looking for a place to stay, they would mostly choose spacious caves or relatively hidden valleys. Try to focus on comfort and spaciousness as much as possible, rather than choosing a damp and narrow underground. Dao Lan made a pot of tea, poured a cup for the two of them, and said calmly, "Where can we get our turn in a station with a better environment?" Nowadays, the number of casual cultivators has increased sharply, and there are also many hunting teams from families and sects. The superior positions have been occupied by them. 4. Casual cultivator teammates like us, the strongest ones are only at the 8th level of chi refining. We can only change our station every once in a while to make it easier to hunt monsters. That's true. Meng Yushan nodded, understanding the situation of these casual cultivators. Dao Lan took a sip of tea, sighed and added, "But fortunately there is that first-level low-grade formation that can guard and cover up, otherwise I wouldn't be able to survive." Hearing this, Meng Yushan was also silent. The living environment of the casual cultivators was indeed getting worse and worse, especially the weaker ones, who were trying to survive in the cracks. The resources in the world of immortality are limited, and every one of them is indispensable. For many casual cultivators, what they lack most is land, which is the cultivation cave. Even many casual cultivators no longer have the concept of practicing in a cave. They only need a hiding place to satisfy themselves. Meng Yushan was quite emotional. If he hadn't been conquered by the young master, how could he have lived in the valley? And can he successfully break through the 9th level of chi refining? Not paying attention to Meng Yushan's melancholy, Dao Lan calmly took a sip of tea and asked, "Fellow Taoist Meng, tell me, Why did you come to me this time? Isn't it just to reminisce about old times? Meng Yushan also came to his senses and said with a smile, on the one hand, I am reminiscing about the past, and on the other hand, I want to ask fellow Taoist Zhao for a favor. Zhao Lan raised her eyebrows and said, what's the deal? If it's troublesome, I still have to charge a fee. After all, I still have 6 people to support, so you have to understand. Of course I won't let fellow Taoist Zhao work in vain. Meng Yushan naturally knew the rules. He took out a small bottle from the storage bag with a smile and pushed it in front of Zhao Lan. Zhao Lan was a little confused, opened the stopper and took a sniff. Her expression immediately became surprised. This is the spiritual liquid. No, the spiritual energy of the spiritual liquid will not be so strong, and it seems to have an effect on the face. This is spiritual honey. Meng Yushan explained. The spiritual honey brewed by spiritual insects is a first-level mid-grade. A small bottle should be sold for 150 spiritual stones in the market. It can not only improve cultivation but also treat injuries. Hearing this, Zhao Lan's face showed shock, but it disappeared immediately after a few seconds. He even pushed Ling Mai back again, with a wary look. With such a valuable thing, what do you want from me? Afterwards, Zhao Lan looked at Lin Yuan with extremely distrustful eyes and asked suspiciously, is it possible? You two want to sell me out? After a few minutes of being honest, Lin Yuan Gang returned to his original appearance, and said nonchalantly, don't worry, don't you still know our character? Besides, you are not young and your strength is not high. You should not be able to sell anything. Price. Meng Yushan. He couldn't stand this pig teammate anymore and almost chopped him alive. Zhao Lan's face turned dark, and her chest trapped in a tight-fitting outfit rose and fell. She gritted her teeth and said, why do you think I asked this question? It's because I'm not confident about your character. Then, he added boldly, besides, with my figure and appearance, Zhao Lan, even if I go to Luanmingju to sell myself, I will be worth more than you two. Such bold words made Lin Yuan and Meng Yushan speechless. Meng Yushan was also helpless. Lin Yuan was obviously outspoken, so why did he also scold himself? Ahem, fellow Taoist Zhao, I don't think Lin Yuan meant this. Meng Yushan still tried to redeem himself. Lin Yuan also realized that he had said the wrong thing and hurriedly echoed, ah, yes, with your beauty. Even in Luanmingju, you must be second to none. Of course, I don't mean that you will really go. I mean even if you go, you will definitely be the top one. Forget it, I'll shut up. Lin Yuan only had a few brains left, and he obviously didn't use them to speak. After holding back a few words, he couldn't even listen to himself anymore, so why did he shut up automatically? Meng Yushan was still frightened, fearing that he would be kicked out on the spot. So he quickly returned to the topic. Zhao Lan, we really need your help this time. Zhao Lan's face was already as cold as ice, and she said calmly, finish this sentence, or you two will get out of here. Ahem, we want to form a temporary hunting team to hunt the first-order peak monsters. We want you to help introduce some reliable casual cultivators. Zhao Lan frowned. First-order high-grade peak monster? Just based on your strength. But before he finished speaking, Zhao Lan's eyes widened and he looked at the two of them in surprise and said, you two idiots actually broke through? If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 129 for Rogue Cultivators. Meng Yushan smiled and said, I did encounter some opportunities and luckily broke through. Otherwise I wouldn't have dared to pursue the idea of a first-order peak monster. Zhao Lan hadn't noticed it just now, but now she felt the aura of the two people and couldn't help but shudder. This was the suppression from the realm. If both of you have broken through the 9th level of Qi refining, and are assisted by a few 8th level Qi refining monks, you might really be able to hunt down the first-order peak monster. After being surprised, A hint of surprise flashed in Zhao Lan's eyes. Even though there is only one step between the 8th level of qi refining and the 9th level of qi refining, there is a huge gap between the two, and their status in casual cultivation is also very different. In a hunting team, if there are only 8-level qi refining experts, most of the time they can only hunt first-level mid-level monsters, and the monster materials obtained are also of low value. But if a hunting team is led by a 9th-level qi refining monk, they will have the confidence to actively hunt first-order high-grade monsters. Even if they encounter powerful first-order monsters, they will have the ability to escape. The value of first-order high-grade materials is far from comparable to that of first-order mid-grade materials. What's more, it's a top-level first-grade monster material. That was a monster beast that was as powerful as the 9th level of qi refining. Zhao Lan thought for a while and asked, "Do you have any requirements for strength?" On the 8th level of qi refining, priority will be given to those with good moral character. It is best to be a solitary cultivator, numbering about 5 people, Meng Yushan said. Zhao Lan nodded slightly, and was about to agree, but after glancing at the two of them, he seemed a little worried. Then, after thinking for a while, he reminded, "Okay, I can help you. Contact me, but you have to promise not to do anything like killing people or selling goods, otherwise my reputation in this area, Zhao Lan, will be dirty." Hearing this, Lin Yuan raised a smile on his lips and patted his chest without hesitation. "Don't worry, don't you still believe in our character? We will never make it difficult for you." No. Lan glanced at him slightly suspiciously, always feeling a bad premonition, but after thinking about it, she still chose to believe the two of them. "Okay, then I'll trust you once, but it's hard to find peak first-order monsters. Do you have a target?" Lin Yuan confidently said. "Don't worry, from selecting the target, to checking the location, to preparing the crime tools, and cleaning up the crime scene, you will be satisfied with the one-stop service." No. Lan raised her eyebrows, feeling that something was wrong, but she couldn't tell what was wrong. After the two parties reached an agreement, they also began to make preparations. Zhao Lan began to contact the lucky people who were suitable to participate in this operation based on her own connections. After all, it is a rare opportunity to follow 2 9th-level qi refining monks and participate in hunting the first-order peak monster. Zhao Lan carefully selected and tried his best to choose some casual cultivators who were good friends with him and had a good relationship with him. Many monks were excited when they learned that 2 strong men at the 9th level of qi refining were leading the team, and that they were hunting first-order peak monsters. The materials of monster beasts at the top of the first level are very valuable, even if they are not the most precious core materials. Just the most common beast blood, beast bones, monster meat, etc. can be worth a lot of spiritual stones. Moreover, being able to have a relationship with 2 powerful 9th-level qi refining experts is also a very valuable thing for these solitary casual cultivators. Maybe one day in the future, this relationship can save his life. Therefore, in just 3 days, Zhao Lan successfully contacted 4 8th-level qi refining monks. 3 of them are solo cultivators, and one has his own hunting team, but the hunting team is not very strong and is not much different from Zhao Lan's situation. There are 3 independent casual cultivators, namely, sword cultivator Bei Kaiyulan. This person is very good with swords and has only recently arrived near Beifang City. Bald Huanglong, a burly man, picked up a broken physical training book in his early years, developed an extremely strong body, and gained a great reputation. But success is also a skill, failure is also a skill. Because the skill is incomplete, he almost went crazy and died. Although he barely survived in the end, his strength has not improved in decades and remains at the 8th level of qi refining. Flower Girl has a beautiful appearance. Because her body has the fragrance of flowers all the year round, she is called the Flower Girl by other casual cultivators. She is also a pretty good spiritual planter. The last one, Lai Lan, is the leader of a small team of casual cultivators. Her name is Wu Xiangling. She is not very old, only in her early 30s, but has considerable strength. It is said that she was once a cultivator from a small family. Later, her family was disgraced, destroyed by the enemy. He became a rogue cultivator. When Meng Yushan and Lin Yuan arrived, the four of them had been waiting for a long time, and both sides were sizing each other up. After Meng Yushan got to know a few of them roughly, he was very satisfied. These four people were not weak in strength and were considered outstanding among the casual cultivators of the same level. 4 fellow Taoists are willing to believe in us and join the hunting team, and I, Meng, will never let them down, Meng Yushan said boldly. The bald Huanglong was tall and heroic. He said in a loud voice, "Senior, you're welcome. I wish to have the opportunity to hunt the first order peak monster together, but I just don't know what monster the senior plans to attack." Meng Yushan smiled and said, "Near the poisonous thorn mountains, there is a purple demon wolf spider, a top-grade first-order peak monster. What do you think?" Hearing this, everyone's expressions changed slightly, and this kind of monster information appeared in their minds. The poisonous thorn mountain range is famous among casual cultivators. It is located in the northeast of Bay Road. It has a humid climate, dense forests, and swampy rainforests. It also grows many poisonous spiritual insects, including the purple demon wolf spider. This monster has a ferocious character and powerful strength. Once caught in its poisonous net, the weaker cultivators will lose their ability to resist in a short period of time and will eventually be swallowed up. The most terrifying thing is that the purple demon wolf spider will not kill the monks directly, but will wrap the monks with spider silk to keep them fresh and use them when they are hungry. Many times, the trapped monks often do not die directly, but will linger in the dark spider cave for dozens of days, and finally die in despair. Therefore, many casual cultivators are terrified of this terrifying monster. However, the value of this monster is also unquestionable, and it is more valuable than many monsters of the same level. Spider silk of the purple demon wolf spider is tough and strong, and it is impervious to water and fire. It is an extremely precious treasure and is very suitable as a refining material to make robes and silk nets. Whenever it appears in the market, it will inevitably be sought after by a large number of refiners, especially now, when wars are raging and the price of defensive magic tools continues to rise. And it will definitely sell for a good price. In addition, the spider legs and shells of the purple demon wolf spider are also excellent refining materials, and the meat is rich in spiritual energy, fresh and delicious, and is a rare delicacy. Whether it is sold to the market or found by a weapon refiner to help refine a magic weapon, it is of great value to everyone. The several casual cultivators present breathed heavily. For a casual cultivator at the 8th level of chi refining, if they could get a share of the materials of the purple demon wolf spider, it would be enough to equal their income for most of the year. Sword cultivator Bei Kailan couldn't help asking, "Two seniors, I wonder how the final harvest will be distributed?" Meng Yushan smiled and said, "The spider silk and half of the spider legs belong to us, and the rest belongs to you. Then what do we need to do?" Chapter 130 Heading to the Poison Thorn Mountains. Meng Yushan thought for a while and said, "Friend Lin and I will confront the purple demon wolf spider head-on, but the spider silk around us is very troublesome. Once we are trapped, it will be difficult for us to resist. So you just need to deal with the spider silk around us." Hearing this, everyone showed a thoughtful look. Although they have never seen the purple demon wolf spider, let alone fought with it, they have heard of the fighting style of this monster. The strong spider silk will indeed affect the battle to a great extent. After thinking for a while, the tall and strong Huanglong took the lead and said, "No problem. If you just want to clear the interfering spider silk around, just leave it to us." Although the others were a little hesitant, they all nodded and agreed after thinking for a while. For them, being able to participate in the hunting of the top-grade first-level monster is also an opportunity that cannot be sought. Maybe they can take this opportunity to improve their own strength. Since everyone has agreed, when can we set off? Meng Yushan asked everyone for their opinions. Huan Niang smiled and said, "Since we are here, we are naturally ready and can set off at any time." "Well, it is better to hunt monsters sooner rather than later, so let's go directly to the Poison Thorn Mountain range today." Meng Yushan also made a decision immediately. However, when he was about to leave, he saw Zhao following him. and couldn't help wondering, "Daolan, are you going with us too?" Daolan said as a matter of course, "Of course, aren't you looking for 5 Qi refining level 8 masters?" "Including me, there are exactly 5. Meng Yushan looked embarrassed and glanced at Lin Yuan obscurely. Lin Yuan immediately understood and advised, "This operation is dangerous, why don't you not participate?" They knew what they were going to do, so it was not appropriate to bring acquaintances with them. And in their original plan, they didn't intend to bring Daolan in at all, they just used her to find casual cultivators. However, Daolan said very seriously, "I am also in the 8th level of Qi refining. Why can't I participate? Besides, with such a good opportunity, I can just turn some spiritual stones." Meng Yushan pulled the corner of his mouth helplessly. How could someone rush to deliver such a thing to the door? However, seeing that she had made up her mind, Lin Yuan did not persuade her. If he continued to dissuade her, it might arouse the vigilance of others, causing the plan to fail, which would not be worth the loss. After a little hesitation, the two decided to focus on the overall situation and add Daolan to the hunting team. In this way, a temporary hunting team of casual cultivators was discussed in a short time. There were a total of 7 people, 2 in the 9th level of Qi refining and 5 in the 8th level of Qi refining. Their strength was not weak. Such a cooperative relationship is not uncommon among casual cultivators. Many casual cultivators are independent and do not have a fixed team. If they find a powerful monster, they will also use similar methods to form a temporary hunting team for hunting. But this kind of cooperation is also very dangerous, because no one knows whether the other people in the team are hidden evil cultivators. Therefore, most casual cultivators will be very cautious about such cooperation, and will only cooperate with each other after ensuring that everything is foolproof. Meng Yushan and his companions were able to successfully form this hunting team. On the one hand, they should thank Daolan for their matchmaking. On the other hand, they were also casual cultivators and had some reputation in this area. With the successful formation of the team, Meng Yushan and Lin Yuan did not delay any longer, and the group rushed to the Poison Thorn Mountains. As they went east, there were fewer and fewer signs of active cultivators. The surrounding mountains were vast, and the lingering clouds were strange. From time to time, there were roars and long cries of monsters. The wild and vast breath came to everyone's face, making everyone alert. The environment here is becoming more and more dangerous, with various monsters appearing frequently, monsters with 4 wings, strange spirit insects with 2 heads, and black trees with venom flowing. The environment here is very unfamiliar to everyone, and various hidden dangers are even more difficult to guard against. On the 3rd day, they accidentally entered the range of the ghost miasma wood and inhaled the colorless and odorless ghost miasma, almost dying here. Fortunately, Meng Yushan and Lin Yuan reacted in time and used their powerful spiritual energy to dispel the ghost miasma around them to prevent the poison from getting worse. Then Ho and Niang took action and used a special pollen to help everyone detoxify the ghost miasma, and it took more than half a day for everyone to recover. The sudden danger made the group more alert. In this unfamiliar area, there were too many dangers that could take their lives, so they dared not relax at all. This also made them deeply feel the horror of the East Great Wilderness Vein. This is just the periphery, and there are already a lot of dangers. What kind of scene is deep in the East Great Wilderness Vein? This is why, although the East Great Wilderness Vein is rich in resources, few sects and families come to explore it, because without absolutely strong strength, it is impossible to walk out of here alive. However, this accident is not completely without benefits. The process of experiencing danger together brought the relationship between the casual cultivators who originally did not know each other closer. The 7 people continued to move forward, and it took them half a month to reach the Poison Thorn Mountain range. The environment here has changed dramatically. A large area around Beifang City is where casual cultivators often live, and it is generally dominated by forests and mountains. However, as they continued to move eastward, near the Poison Thorn Mountain range in the northeast, the air became much more humid, various spiritual insects and poisons began to appear, and the strength of the monsters also increased. Along the way, They have encountered several first-stage late-stage monsters, most of which are comparable to the 7th or 8th stage of chi refining. Fortunately, with the strength of the 7 people, they were able to solve them relatively easily, but they still felt the pressure. Looking at the deep and vast jungle, the younger Wu Xiangling worriedly said, 2 seniors, we have now gone nearly 100 miles to the east, and we haven't reached the lair of the purple demon wolf spider yet. If we continue to go further, it may be more dangerous. Meng Yushan looked at the surrounding environment, frowned slightly, and said, don't worry, we are almost there. The surrounding terrain is relatively complex, and we need to search carefully. Since we are here, there is no need to be anxious. Can we return empty-handed? Bald Huanglong was calm. When casual cultivators hunt monsters, they usually only know the approximate location, so it is normal to spend a lot of time looking for monsters. The others were not in a hurry either, and began to search the surrounding area in a carpet-style search, looking for traces of the existence of first-stage peak monsters. This search took a full 7 days. Just when everyone was disappointed and thought that the hunt would be fruitless, Meng Yushan finally found the trace of the purple demon wolf spider silk through a damp canyon with his keen observation. The 7 people all showed joy on their faces, and the dejection was swept away. They followed the signs of the silk and searched for the nest. But the accident came quietly. When the 7 people walked to a narrow canyon, the surrounding cliffs were covered with white spider silk, which was so dense that it made people shudder. As they went deeper, more and more spider silk appeared, as if they were going to completely swallow everyone in the white spider web. Chapter 131 The Purple Demon Wolf Spider in number 039 S Trap. However, when they reached the end, the scene that appeared in front of them instantly made the 7 people's pupils dilate, and they took 2 steps back in disbelief. Only dozens of oval-shaped white cocoons were seen, hanging in midair by tough spider silk, with only dozens of pale heads exposed. What was even more frightening was that they felt a faint breath of life among these corpses. The dead face of the corpse suddenly began to fluctuate after noticing the crowd, and its pale, paper-like lips slightly opened and closed. They're not dead yet? Even Huanglong, a sturdy man, was frightened by this scene. Although I had already understood the characteristics of the purple demon wolf spider, I still felt frightened after actually seeing this weird hunting method. The monk who was supposed to die completely was wrapped in the silk of the purple demon wolf spider, and penetrated deeply into his flesh and blood. He used the energy contained in the silk to maintain his life and ensure the freshness of his flesh and blood. They still have signs of life, but there is no possibility of survival and can only be called living dead. They will experience extreme despair and fear in the last few dozen days of their lives, and will eventually suffer mental breakdown and die from the nibbles of the purple demon wolf spider. This horrifying way of death left everyone feeling palpitated. However, there was another fact that made people's hair stand on end, almost making everyone's bodies stiffen and fear spreading in their hearts. How come? Here are the praise of the purple demon wolf spider? Wu Xiangling asked with a slightly trembling voice. No one answered her question, because even Meng Yushan was sweating on his forehead and his muscles were tense. The scene here undoubtedly indicates everyone that has entered the lair of the purple demon wolf spider. Everyone, be careful, it is very possible that, since we came to this canyon, we have entered the hunting range of the purple demon wolf spider. Meng Yushan said nervously. Zhao Ant swallowed and couldn't help but ask, then why did it never attack us and let us go deep into the nest? Is it possible that this is an abandoned spider lair? Lin Yuan looked equally serious at this moment, shook his head and said, no way, the spider silk here is all fresh, and with the character of the purple demon wolf spider, it is absolutely impossible to leave food uneaten. Then, why doesn't it take action? Sword. Cultivator Bei Kailan's pupils shrank slightly when he heard this, and he speculated, I heard that the purple demon wolf spider is extremely intelligent and cunning, and especially likes to play with its prey. It is very likely that it is deliberately observing me in secret right now. It seems to confirm his statement. Just hearing the rustling sound, I quickly climbed over the cliff behind. Who is it? The bald Huanglong turned around fiercely, only to see gusts of wind and snow-white spider silk swaying slightly in the air, but there was no sign of any monster. Trouble. This is the home court of the purple demon wolf spider, and our chance of winning here is less than 30%. Meng Yushan said with an ugly expression. The monsters at the peak of the first level are already more powerful than monks of the same level. Under normal circumstances, Meng Yushan and Lin Yuan would fight 2 against 1, and with the help of 5 other 8th level chi refining monks, they would still have a slight chance of winning. But now, the home advantage lies entirely with the purple demon wolf spider. Even if the 2 9th level chi refining monks join forces, it is very likely that they will stay here completely. Is this the way you led? Directly into the monster's lair? Jiangxi Ubeiqiu looked at Meng Yushan and asked coldly with a pale face. Meng Yushan snorted coldly, glared at him coldly, and said, "Pay attention to your identity. If you speak rudely again, I will deal with you first." Sword Master Beikailan's expression was uncertain, and the anger in his heart was suppressed. Seeing that the two sides were arguing, Huanniang hurriedly said, "Stop arguing. There are many uncertainties in hunting monsters. No one knows the specific situation of the purple demon wolf spider. The most important thing now is to find the purple demon wolf spider, or find a chance to escape." Hearing this, Swordsman Beikailan had to restrain the anger in his heart, but the expression on his face did not improve at all. But what Huanniang said was true. There was a possibility of failure in any action, and they already knew the strength of the purple demon wolf spider before they joined the hunting team. Since you choose to come, you must be mentally prepared. But suddenly facing such a desperate situation still made it difficult for him to control his emotions. "Senior Meng, I made a mistake just now. I hope you will not remember the faults of villains. The most important thing now is to survive." Swordsman Beikailan took the initiative to speak. Meng Yushan just shook his head slightly, and still looked around with vigilant eyes. "Get ready for battle. I can already feel the aura of the purple demon wolf spider." The 7 of them were all experienced in combat. Upon hearing this, they immediately formed a formation and were alert to the sneak attack of the purple demon wolf spider from different directions. Then at the next moment, Lin Yuan suddenly exclaimed, "Be careful!" I saw a large amount of white spider silk suddenly appeared on the ground under my feet, and it instantly wrapped around Shangshin's ankle. The toughness of the peak first-order high-grade spider silk was extremely terrifying, and even a 9th level chi refining expert could not break free. Everyone knows that the purple demon wolf spider has taken action. But the offensive was far from over. The spider silk cocoon wrapped in the corpse of the worker was seen flying towards everyone in front of them. Several people immediately drew their swords to resist, but they could not cut through the spider silk at all, leaving only a white trace. Watching the spider silk cocoons flying towards them, when they were only 5 meters away from everyone, all the spider silks instantly dispersed and turned into dense and fine spider silks to cover the 7 people. In just a moment, everyone was tied up. The spider silk tightened and released poison instantly, paralyzing the body and nerves. The next moment, the sound of panic echoed in the canyon. Wu Xiangling's scream, the roar of the bald Huanglong, Meng Yushan's struggle, the scream of the sword cultivator Beikailan. The seemingly powerful team of 7 people had no room for resistance under this first-level peak monster. The sound of struggle did not last too long. The poison of the purple demon wolf spider was equally terrifying. It instantly paralyzed the whole body in a very short time, making people fall asleep, and the sound of struggle became weaker and weaker. Wu Xiangling, who was the weakest, closed her eyes first, followed by Zhalan, then the sword cultivator Beikailan, then the bald Huanglong with better physical fitness, and finally Huanniang. All closed their eyes silently in despair. In the end, only Meng Yushan and Lin Yuan were left, relying on the powerful strength of the 9th level of chi refining, and barely held on. However, after the two continued to roar and struggle, they suddenly stopped their actions tacitly and looked at each other. "Old Lin, they are all unconscious," Meng Yushan said calmly. The panic on his face completely disappeared. Lin Yuan continued to struggle for a few more times, breaking a few tightly bound spider silks, and shook his head and said, It's really troublesome. If we follow the original plan, it will definitely be much easier. Chapter 132 Trapped. Meng Yushan shook his head. I don't think so. Forcibly forcing them can indeed control them in the shortest time, but doing so is tantamount to directly enmity with them, which will greatly affect future relations. According to the original plan, they would directly seek cooperation with the iron-backed bear. With the excuse of hunting the iron-backed bear, 2 9th-level chi refining experts and a 1st-level peak monster beast were used to forcibly control everyone. Then directly force them to use spiritual magic. Those who surrender will be kept, and those who do not will be directly dealt with. This simple and crude method is definitely more efficient and has a high success rate. After hesitating for a long time, the two finally gave up on this non-illegal approach. This kind of behavior is even more egregious than killing people and buying goods. Once they are discovered, the two of them will be ruined and will be regarded as evil cultivators. They will no longer be able to gain a foothold in this area. And on the other hand, if you use this coercive method to subdue them, even if you use spiritual magic, these rebellious cultivators will probably not obey sincerely. Even those with a more violent temper would rather die than use secret techniques. So after careful consideration, the two chose a more troublesome but gentler method. Let the purple demon wolf spider tie up the 7 people, and then hang them on the cliff deep in the canyon like the living dead before. Although the toxin of the spider silk is equally effective on Meng Yushan and the two of them, it will not completely make them lose their resistance. The two of them turned pale on purpose, and then waited for the others to wake up. After 1 day and 1 night, as the dosage of toxins was gradually reduced, the remaining 5 people gradually woke up from the coma, but their bodies were extremely weak. The toxins of 1st-level peak monsters are extremely deadly to monks at the 8th level of chi refining. If the purple demon wolf spider wanted to kill them, it would definitely not be a difficult task. Where are we? Daolan opened his eyes in a daze and looked at the surrounding environment feebly. The rest of the people were the same, looking around in a daze. Under the paralysis of the poison, not only their physical condition was greatly weakened, but their spirits also became sluggish. Meng Yushan said calmly, everyone, we failed and are now in the lair of the purple demon wolf spider. Hearing this, several people who were thinking vaguely showed a trace of despair and panic in their eyes. Lin Yuan smiled miserably and said, but don't worry too much, there is good news now. After hearing this, a glimmer of hope suddenly appeared in his despairing eyes. Daolan struggled to ask, what's the good news? There are a few brothers in front of us. They should be enough for the purple demon wolf spider to eat for a few days. We can also take the opportunity to survive for a few more days. Daolan, Huanglong smiled bitterly. Senior, you don't have to be so optimistic. Sword. Cultivator Bei Kailan frowned and said, Senior Lin, why are you still joking in this situation? It's better to think of a way as soon as possible to see if there is any way to escape. What Bei Kailan said is true. As 9-level chi refining experts, don't the two seniors have the means to deal with these two beasts? Huaniyang asked softly, her pale and haggard face even more gentle and sad. Lin Yuan still spread his hands indifferently and said carelessly, what can be done? This big spider is too powerful. It should be more terrifying than the strong man at the 9th level of chi refining, and it is only 1 step away from building the foundation. Are you just going to sit back and wait for death? That's not impossible. It would be a beautiful thing to be able to die in the same year and month as several beauties. Although Lin Yuan was hanging upside down, his hands had broken free of the spider silk, and he hugged his head and said, seeing how indifferent he looked, everyone didn't believe his words even more. Daolan softened her tone and said feebly, Lin Yuan, do you have any solution? Give me an accurate answer. Is this ... I don't know. This situation is indeed a bit troublesome, Lin Yuan said with slight hesitation. However, it was this attitude that made the other people more and more certain that Lin Yuan must have the ability to escape from here. Huanglong struggled to twist his body, unable to break free at all, and said with difficulty, Senior, since you brought us here, you can't leave us alone. Huaniyang also frowned and said, since you two have the means, why are you unwilling to help? Are you going to watch us die here? That's right, or are you doing this on purpose? Do you want to kill someone and seize the treasure? Meng Yushan's face changed slightly when he heard this, and he snorted coldly, Meng Yushan, walk and sit upright. Why do I need to use evil cultivators to kill people and seize treasures? Then why is the senior unwilling to help? Is there any other reason? Huang Long then asked. The Huanniang struck while the iron was hot and said, Senior, please take action. If you can escape smoothly this time, the Huanniang will be very grateful and will reward you too with generous gifts. Seeing that he could not escape, Meng Yushan looked embarrassed and sighed. I don't need any reward from my fellow Taoists. I do have a way to escape, but once this method is leaked, it may lead to the disaster of killing. It is really not suitable to be exposed easily. Senior, does he really have a backup plan? There was a hint of surprise in the turbid eyes of several people. Huanniang hurriedly said, Two seniors, feel free to use whatever means you have. We can swear by our Taoist hearts that we will never leak the news. Meng Yushan shook his head. You and I meet by chance. How can we believe it? When Lin Yuan saw Meng Yushan speaking, he no longer concealed it. He spread his hands and said helplessly, and there is nothing we can do. This thing is very important, and our seniors will not let us be exposed easily. Senior? Dao Lan looked at the two of them with doubtful eyes. As they exchanged a few words, the confusion in her heart became deeper and deeper. Why did Meng Yushan and Lin Yuan suddenly disappear for more than a year? Why did they both break through to the 9th level of qi refining in just 1 year? Dao Lan knew the talents of the two of them very well. Although they were pretty good in casual cultivation, it was still very difficult to break through the 9th level of qi refining. The few conversations just now also brought a lot of doubts to her. What is the hidden method? It can actually arouse the covetousness of other monks, and even cause death. Also, who are the seniors they are talking about? A series of doubts made Zhao Lan's fuzzy thinking become even more sluggish, and finally he only condensed into one sentence. Meng Yushan, Lin Yuan, what are you hiding? The two looked at each other, faintly seeing a hint of cunning in each other's eyes. When the conversation reaches this point, the plan is actually half successful. Meng Yushan sighed and roughly explained. Dao Lan, it's not that we can hide it from you. A lot of things did happen this year. Chapter 133, Conquering 5 People. So what happened? In fact, we took refuge with a senior formation master and went to a first-class upper-grade spiritual vein to practice, and we also had resources to supply, so we were able to break through smoothly. Otherwise, with our talents, we would have made no progress in another 10 years. I see. Dao Lan's eyes lit up, revealing a look of understanding. Then your methods also come from making things difficult for the seniors? Yes, please forgive me. You and I are both cultivators, and there are always some unspeakable secrets. Hearing this, everyone was silent. This is the cruel rule of the world of immortal cultivation. Everything is based on self-interest, and no one is willing to do something that is thankless. Huanniang was still unwilling to give up, and asked again, is there no other way? We can swear a poisonous oath. Meng Yushan sneered and said, poisonous oath, do you think it's any use? Huanniang's face was gloomy, but the next moment, Lin Yuan's words made him hopeful again. But Lao Meng, if you must ask if there is any other way, maybe there is indeed a way. What way? Lin Yuan hesitated and said, if you fellow Taoists also submit to the senior, maybe it is not impossible to save them. The eyes of several people lit up instantly. The sword cultivator Bei Kailan said helplessly, of course, life and death. Do we have any other choice? Meng Yushan shook his head. Your Excellency thinks too simply. If you want to submit to the senior, you must set up a mental restriction. Mental restriction? The faces of several people changed, and their expressions were all unpredictable. Meng Yushan continued, you can think about it carefully. If you are willing, I can indeed take you away. If you don't want to, then forget it. The other 5 people looked ugly, and they vaguely noticed that this matter was unusual, but their paralyzed nerves prevented them from thinking too much. Only the choice of life and death became more and more clear in their minds. Finally, after a period of struggle, The Lakers finally gave an answer. Half an hour later, Lin Yuan set up restrictions in the minds of Lan and Betrayals, and Meng Yushan set up restrictions in the minds of Huang Long, Hu Niang, and Wu Xiangling, and the process was much easier than the two had imagined. This was also due to the toxins of the purple demon wolf spider, which made the mind paralyzed and blurred, and both thinking and will were suppressed, so the process was easier. After everything was done, Meng Yushan and Lin Yuan also showed a hidden smile. Since we are all our own people now, we don't need to hide too much, just kill this beast and leave here. Lin Yuan's voice was clear and indifferent. At the same time, in his hand, a set of exquisite first-grade upper-grade array plates appeared, revealing a strong and obscure power in the mysterious breath. Meng Yushan also slightly, and the quicksand array plate appeared in his hand, and a breath stronger than that of a 9th-level chi-refining strongman covered the air. Suddenly, the few people who were in a depressed state sobered up a little, all opened their eyes and looked over, and their faces suddenly changed. They could feel that this small array plate contained an unparalleled power. Is this a first-grade top-grade array plate? No, the aura seems to be even more powerful, Hu Niang almost exclaimed. Others also showed surprised eyes, and seemed to understand why Meng Yushan and the others were always unwilling to reveal their cards. Arrays are extremely precious, especially for casual cultivators. It is difficult to buy a powerful array even if you almost spend your life savings. What's more, this is a first-grade top-grade array, which can almost be used as a family protection array for small chi-refining families and small forces. As long as you have this array, it is equivalent to having a cave residence, which is of extraordinary significance, and the improvement of combat power is also very terrifying. Not to mention the 9th-level chi-refining cultivators. Even many foundation-building cultivators cannot own a first-grade top-grade array, and its value is much higher than the purple demon wolf spider in front of them. No wonder, such a precious treasure. If it were me, I would never easily expose it, Sword Cultivator Betrayals muttered to himself. When the formation was taken out, the sleeping purple wolf spider in the distance was immediately attracted by the powerful aura, awakened from its slumber, and made a rustling hissing sound. But the next moment, Meng Yushan and Lin Yuan had already pinched the magic formula, the formation plate was activated, and the mysterious and complex formation covered the ground. The quicksand formation took the lead in taking effect, turning the gravel, soil and dust in the canyon into thick quicksand in an instant, and forming a vortex and flowing slowly. As soon as the purple wolf spider wanted to get up, its legs were sucked by the quicksand. The strong suction made it unable to move at all, and it was swallowed up by the quicksand uncontrollably. In just a few breaths, the purple wolf spider began to struggle frantically. The powerful swallowing power, coupled with the squeezing of the terrifying force, had already made it feel a fatal threat. It must be said that the power of the purple wolf spider is extremely terrifying, and it actually forcibly broke free of one of its legs. Seeing this, Meng Yushan frowned slightly, knowing that it would be difficult to get rid of this beast with just the quicksand formation, so he looked at Lin Yuan beside him. Lin Yuan understood and immediately used the golden spear 100 vine formation in his hand. In an instant, hundreds of metal thorn vines broke through the soil and came from all directions, covering the sky and blocking the sun, like giant pythons moving in the sky. The sharp thorns did not attack the purple devil wolf spider first, but cut the spider silk that hung everyone first. With a bang, 7 people fell to the ground. The layers of spider silk that wrapped everyone were also cut by thorns, releasing several people. However, when he saw the situation inside the spider silk cocoon, Meng Yushan couldn't help but take a breath. The end of the spider silk was full of tentacles, like the roots of plants, which had been completely rooted in the flesh and continuously released toxins. If it was a few days later, the spider silk would take root deeper, and the toxins of the spider silk would fill the body. At that time, even if the spider silk was untangled, there would be almost no possibility of rescue. Meng Yushan did not dare to be careless, and hurriedly endured the pain and forcibly pulled off the spider silk on his skin. Accompanied by the burning pain, when his skin was exposed to the air again, He finally felt that he was alive again. The first to recover were still the strongest Meng Yushan and Lin Yuan. After getting rid of the spider silk, they immediately began to clean up the remaining toxins in their bodies. At the same time, he took out a small jade bottle and stuffed it into his mouth with a look of heartache. As the emerald green liquid flowed into his mouth, the rich spiritual energy was quickly absorbed by the body, and the wounds were also recovering rapidly. This small bottle of liquid was exactly the first-grade high-quality spiritual honey. Before leaving, Zhou Daocheng gave each of them a bottle, so that they could take it in dangerous situations and restore their combat power in a short time. And the current situation is just right. The effect of the spiritual honey was also very gratifying. In just 2 breaths, Meng Yushan's spiritual energy was mostly restored, and he quickly pinched the hand seal to use the quicksand spell. The first-grade high-quality spell may not be very effective when used alone, but with the quicksand array, the two complement each other, and the power instantly increased by 30%. The purple demon wolf spider, which was about to break free, immediately felt a stronger pressure, pulling him back into the quicksand again. He couldn't help but let out a shrill roar. Chapter 134 Killing the Purple Demon Wolf Spider. The combination of quicksand formation and quicksand spell produced a terrifying restraining effect, making the purple demon wolf spider unable to move. At this time, it would be the main field of the Golden Spear 100 Vine Formation. A large number of metal thorn vines would continuously whip down from the sky like a violent storm. The terrifying force, with a crisp sound of breaking through the air, violently slashed on the body of the purple demon wolf spider, making a thunderous sound. Snap, snap, snap. In order to avoid damaging the purple demon wolf spider's carapace, Lin Yuan also deliberately controlled the thorn vines to attack the weak points such as the head and abdomen as much as possible. Due to its limited body shape, the purple demon wolf spider could only use its carapace to resist and spit out silk to seek a counterattack. However, the effect of spider silk is only effective for monks. The metal thorn vines formed by the Golden Spear 100 Vine Formation are completely unaffected by the toxin. Even when Lin Yuan saw the purple demon wolf spider start to spit silk, he was not afraid, but excited with his eyes shining. TSK, TSK, the spider silk of the purple demon wolf spider, and it's still fresh. If it's properly preserved, it's worth at least thousands of spirit stones. The spider silk of the purple demon wolf spider is actually divided into different grades. The worst quality is the worn-out spider silk in the valley, which is worthless. The better quality is the spider silk that binds everyone, which has a certain degree of activity and very high toughness, and is quite valuable. But the most valuable is undoubtedly the spider silk that has just been spit out, which is the freshest and richest in spiritual energy, and has the best toughness. It is extremely suitable for making high-quality inner armor and silk net-like magic tools. But relatively speaking, this kind of fresh spider silk is less in quantity and more difficult to obtain. It must be directly extracted from the body of the purple demon wolf spider while it is alive. Once the purple demon wolf spider dies, the spider silk in its body will also lose its spirituality, so it is very difficult to collect. And Lin Yuan naturally couldn't let go of the opportunity in front of him. He quickly controlled 2 thorny vines, wrapped around the spider silk at the tail of the purple demon wolf spider, and then continued to pull it out. In this regard, the purple demon wolf spider had no choice but to scream and spit out spider silk continuously. At first, it could barely maintain the speed of the thorny vines, but after only a cup of tea, it was completely drained. Everyone could clearly see that the initial spider silk was pure white, like a work of art, but the spider silk that was forcibly pulled out later was faintly stained with bright red blood, and the tail of the purple demon wolf spider became bloody and a lot of blood was spilled due to the long-term pulling of the spider silk. Obviously, such a reckless and brutal way of taking has completely hollowed out the purple demon wolf spider. Even the ability to make spider silk is almost lost at this moment. Looking at the collected spider silk, Lin Yuan shook his head with a sense of unfulfilled desire and sighed. I'm really lucky to have collected so many fresh spider silks. It's a pity that the purple demon wolf spider is a brutal beast by nature and is not suitable for breeding. If I can bring it back to the valley and extract spider silk every day, I will definitely earn a lot of spiritual energy." The purple demon wolf spider lying in the quicksand, although it didn't understand Lin Yuan's words, still felt the strong malice, and couldn't help shivering all over, and wanted to escape from here. But at this time, the restrictions of the quicksand formation and the attack of the golden spear 100 vine formation have completely deprived it of the ability to resist. In the end, Lin Yuan raised his gun and pierced the purple demon wolf spider's head with a long spear, ending its life. The huge body collapsed with a bang, completely losing signs of life. The entire battle process took no more than a cup of tea, and the speed was shocking. Meng Yushan and Lin Yuan were still calm. They had long known that their son's formation was powerful, and they used 2 sets of formations together, so it was naturally easy to fight against the first-level peak demon beast. But the other 5 people took a breath of cold air when they saw this scene. A purple demon wolf spider at the peak of the first level, whose strength is comparable to that of the peak of the 9th level of Qi refining, was easily solved. Moreover, this was a desperate counterattack by 2 people who were trapped by spider silk and forced to fight in a difficult situation, and they could actually burst out with such terrifying strength. And all the credit should be attributed to these 2 sets of first-level superior formations. At this time, looking at the complete body of the purple demon wolf spider and a large group of collected spider silk, everyone seemed to see a large number of spirit stones waving to them. But after the surprise, there was only helplessness in the end. After all, they did not participate in the entire battle process and were not qualified to share the harvest at all. Moreover, at this time, they were already controlled by the spiritual secret method, and their lives were controlled by others. It was good enough to be alive, so how could they share the harvest? With the recovery of consciousness and thinking, they finally noticed a trace of abnormality. They encountered a life and death crisis inexplicably, were trapped by the spider silk sneak attack, and were finally controlled by the spiritual secret method in a daze. If there was no problem, they would not believe it themselves. But now that the matter has been settled, although they have a lot of thoughts in their minds, they are tactful and do not speak out, maintaining the last dignity of both parties. Only Zhalan has an extremely difficult expression, and the look she gives Meng Yushan and Lin Yuan is almost as if she wants to eat them alive. When Lin Yuan approaches, she lowers her voice and says in a tone that is almost gritting her teeth, "Before you left, you patted your chest and swore to me that you would never make it difficult for me. Haha. In the end, you really didn't make it difficult for me, because you also did it to me." Lin Yuan smiled awkwardly, scratched his head, and appropriately avoided this question that was not suitable to answer. Out of apology, he handed each of the 5 casual cultivators a bottle of first-grade middle-grade spiritual honey to help them recover their spiritual energy and injuries. After all, the 5 of them are now his own people, and they will work together in the future, so it is not appropriate to make the relationship too stiff. As for the thoughts of the 5 people, Meng Yushan was naturally clear. If the 5 people had no doubts at all after this series of experiences, it would be really incredible. It was just that they did not dare to speak openly because of the spiritual secrets. However, Meng Yushan could not completely remain silent, and took the initiative to say, 5 Taoist friends, it is really helpless to use the spiritual secrets on you, but now that the matter is done, Meng will never treat you unfairly. The monster materials of the purple demon wolf spider are distributed according to the original distribution method, and none of them will be less. But this promise did not make anyone happy. After all, your life is in the hands of others, so what is the use of these external things? Seeing this, Meng Yushan continued, besides this, you are now also the subordinates of the senior. In the future, whether it is a first-class cultivation cave, a powerful formation, or an opportunity to break through the 9th level of Qi refining, I believe that you will not be lacking. When they heard this, the eyes of the 5 people changed. First-class formation. First-class cultivation cave. The opportunity to break through the 9th level of Qi refining. Although they did not believe it very much, It gave them hope after all. Well, since things have come to this, I hope that you will treat us well. If you force us to do something we don't want to do, even if we die, I, Baekhyulan, will not agree. Chapter 135 Return. What fellow Taoist Bei said is right. The same goes for Huang. Huanglong agreed in a deep voice. Huanniang also nodded and said, fellow Taoist Meng and Taoist Lin, now that the matter is settled, we will not pursue it too much. We hope that we can treat each other sincerely in the future. If we chill people's hearts, I'm afraid we will all end up dead together in the end. Meng Yushan readily agreed. As long as the first step is successfully completed, the rest will be easy. The original intention of subduing a few people was to expand the valley and increase manpower. It was not really malicious. And he also believed that the environment and conditions of the valley were enough for these casual cultivators to stay willingly. Whether it is first-level high-grade spiritual veins, powerful formation methods, and a comfortable and peaceful cultivation environment, these are all opportunities that can be encountered but cannot be sought for wandering casual cultivators who are at home all over the world. But that's all for later. The most important thing right now is to take stock of the gains in front of you. The harvest can be divided into 3 parts: the body of the purple demon wolf spider, spider silk, and other items belonging to the monks hunted by the purple demon wolf spider. Among them, spider silk was the most precious. Whether it was the spider silk cocoon that bound everyone or the fresh spider silk extracted from the body of the purple demon wolf spider, Meng Yushan put it away without hesitation. In particular, the spider silk extracted from the body is stored in a special wooden spirit box to ensure that the spiritual energy will not dissipate. Next is the corpse of the purple demon wolf spider, which is also a harvest that needs to be divided among everyone. The bald man Huanglong took the initiative to break it down, and with a powerful iron sword, he collected all the valuable materials from the purple demon wolf spider in an orderly manner. The 8 complete spider legs are extremely hard and sharp, like a sharp sickle, and are extremely high-quality weapon refining materials. There is also a complete purple demon wolf spider carapace, which is in the shape of a semicircle. It is extremely thick and has a diameter of 1 foot. It has very impressive defensive capabilities and is suitable for making rare large shield-like instruments. With the right technique, dividing the carapace into even scales can also be used to make armor-like magic weapons, but it requires more energy and the failure rate will be greatly increased. Spider legs and carapace, the 2 most precious materials. Baekhyulan and others did not take the initiative to ask for them. Instead, they chose to distribute some more common materials, such as monster flesh and blood. The plump and tender flesh and blood in the legs of the purple demon wolf spider is also extremely valuable. It is rich in nora and is a rare meal. The 7 people present distributed the flesh and blood among the 8 spider legs equally, and each person received dozens of kilograms, which was considered a considerable gain. After distributing the materials on the purple demon wolf spider, the 7 people did not leave directly. Instead, they went deep into the canyon to further explore the environment here. In areas where powerful monsters live, there is a high chance that precious treasures of heaven, materials and earth will exist. After some exploration, a few people found the lair where the purple demon wolf spider rested in a cave in the canyon. In the dark and humid environment, there were a large number of white skeletons piled up, as well as monks' magic weapons, storage bags, spiritual stones, scattered randomly on the ground. Most of them are damaged, but a few are still usable. The group of people picked and found more than 500 spiritual stones. Finally, inside the cave, they were pleasantly surprised to find a first-class, high-grade magical weapon, the Chongshan stick. This powerful and heavy magical weapon is extremely powerful. The first time the bald man Huanglong saw it, he was immediately attracted and couldn't take his eyes away for a long time. Seeing this, Meng Yushan was also extremely generous and gave this magical weapon directly to Huanglong, replacing his original first-order mid-grade sword magical weapon. Huanglong is a semi-physical practitioner, with a strong physique and explosive strength. He is suitable for using this kind of power-based magic weapon, which will greatly improve his strength. In addition, deep in the purple devil wolf spider's lair, 2 first-grade high-grade witchweeds were found, which have detoxifying effects and are needed for many detoxifying elixirs. After putting all valuable things into storage bags, a group of 7 people left the cave. However, they did not return immediately. Instead, they set up a fire in the valley and roasted the flesh and blood of the purple demon wolf spider. Everyone has been hungry for several days. Their spiritual energy has been consumed a lot. They are in a very weak state, and they are in urgent need of replenishing energy. The tender pieces of snow-white meat make a sizzling sound when roasted by the flames. After one bite, the rich energy is absorbed by the body, and the fatigue in the expression dissipates a little. The experience of ups and downs made Bai Kailan and Huang Long exhausted. After a day's rest, they got back on the road. After walking out of the canyon and looking at the surrounding environment, Lin Yuan asked, "Lao Meng, if we go back directly, should we continue to stay here for a while?" After Meng Yushan thought for a while, he said, "It's rare to come to the poisonous thorn mountains. Let's explore it for a few more days." Moreover, the monsters and natural treasures here are very different from those near Beifang City. If you take them back and sell them, should be able to earn a lot of spiritual stones. Everyone also nodded. Different monsters and elixirs grow in different environments. Many elixirs that are common in the poisonous thorn mountains can be sold at a good price in Beifang City. And it's a rare trip, so it would be a pity to return directly. Therefore, Meng Yushan immediately made a decision to explore the surroundings, hunt down some poisonous insects and monsters, and let Hu Anyang collect some elixirs. As a spiritual planter, Hu Anyang's ability to search for and collect spiritual medicine in the wild is far beyond what a few others can match, and she can discover many natural and earthly treasures that no one else can. At the same time, the hunting team, which consisted of 2 9th-level Qi refining masters and 5 8th-level Qi refining cultivators, was very powerful and could hunt weaker monsters without much effort. So, the group of 7 stayed near the poison thorn mountains for about a month again. After seeing all kinds of poisonous creatures, experiencing the unique environment of the poison thorn mountains, and harvesting a lot of natural treasures, they set out to return to Bay Market after making a lot of money. According to estimates, if all the harvests from more than a month were sold to the market, at least 2,500 spirit stones could be exchanged. Of course, most of it was the value brought by the corpse of the purple demon wolf spider, but it is undeniable that this operation was very rewarding, especially for Meng Yushan and Lin Yuan. Not only did they successfully complete the task of hunting the purple demon wolf spider, but they also successfully subdued 5 8th-level Qi refining cultivators, which opened a good start for the team's expansion. All the way back, they headed towards Bay Market. When they saw the dry forests and mountains again, the familiar environment made everyone feel relieved and felt like they were back home. Meng Yushan did not return to the valley, but went directly to Bay Market, intending to sell a batch of materials. As the conflict between King Shan sect and Lingding sect expanded, Bay Market was also affected, and the flow of people increased a lot more than before. Whether it was the number of independent cultivators or cultivators from families and sects, there were not a few, which immediately made the place lively, but more people meant more right and wrong. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 136, Shocking Changes in Prices. Looking at the bustling streets, the bald man Huang Long couldn't help but sigh and said, "With so many monks pouring in here, it will definitely bring about better development. Maybe Beifang City can develop into a medium-sized city." Hearing this, Meng Yushan shook his head and said unoptimistically, "Development is inevitable, but the increase in the number of monks also means that disputes and conflicts will inevitably increase. It is better to be careful." Lin Yuan didn't care about this. "Whatever, with our strength, ordinary families and sects don't dare to provoke us easily. Don't be careless. The increase in the number of monks may not be good for us." Meng Yushan's worries were entirely from the perspective of casual cultivators. The benefits brought by development are often only for powerful forces. For casual cultivators, they cannot get a share of the benefits at all. While they were talking, there was a sudden quarrel in front of them, and everyone couldn't help but frown and look over. What? This is a complete Earth-scale beast's back armor. It can be sold for 200 spirit stones at least. You are only willing to pay 120 spirit stones? The middle-aged casual cultivator's eyes were fierce and his face was red. The shopkeeper in front looked calmly and said coldly, "That's the price. If you want to sell it or not, even if you ask all over Beifang City, you will only get 120 spirit stones." You fart. I don't believe that no store would be willing to accept such rare materials. After saying that, the middle-aged casual cultivator grabbed the monster material back, cursed and turned around to leave. The shopkeeper behind him showed a disdainful sneer, and this phenomenon does not seem to be an isolated case. Meng Yushan and others have seen this phenomenon many times while walking through many shops. Meng Yushan and Lin Yuan looked at each other with confusion in their eyes. The bald Huang Long also scratched his head and asked in confusion, "What's going on? Why did the price suddenly drop so much?" As senior casual cultivators, we all know very well that the material used by the middle-aged casual cultivator just now is the back armor of a first-order high-grade demon beast, the Earth-scale beast, and it is in complete condition and can be sold for more than 180 at least. Even in normal times, when the price is 200, a large number of shops are rushing to get it. Unexpectedly, the price is so low now, which is simply unimaginable to them. Meng Yushan frowned and said calmly, "Let's take a look at the situation first." After saying that, he walked forward, took out the materials from his storage bag, handed them to a regular grocery store, and said, "Fellow Taoist, help me see how many spiritual stones these materials are worth." The shop owner just looked at it briefly and couldn't help but exclaimed, "Poison velvet flowers, the poison sacs of the fishy poison frog, the core of the withered silkworm tree. Is fellow Taoist Meng going to the 100 insect poison swamp?" Meng Yushan waved his hand and said, "With my strength, I would never dare to go to the poison swamp of hundreds of insects. At most, I would just wander around the poisonous thorn mountains." The 100 insect poison swamp that this person is talking about is a terrifying area further east of the poisonous thorn mountains. The terrain is complex and changeable, with a large number of swamps and wetlands, completely shrouded in poisonous miasma, and there are also many second-level monsters surviving. The environment is much harsher than the poison thorn mountains. The shop owner nodded in realization, checked the materials in his hand, and said with satisfaction, "The things are pretty good. We'll take them in the store, so I'll give you 350 spiritual stones." As soon as the shop owner told him the price, Meng Yushan immediately frowned and stopped the shop owner's hand. "What do you mean by this, fellow Taoist?" the shopkeeper asked with a frown. Meng Yushan said with a bad look, "The materials I took out are conservatively estimated to be worth more than 500 spirit stones. You only want to buy them for 350 spirit stones. Isn't it a little too dark, black?" The shop owner sneered. "You haven't been back to Beifang City recently, have you? If you think it's black, don't sell it. The price is the same in the whole market now. You can go out and ask." Meng Yushan's face was gloomy and uncertain. "Are you thinking that Meng and I are easy to bully? 500 spirit stones, not one less." Haha. The shopkeeper pushed back the materials and just looked at Meng Yushan coldly. Seeing that the other party refused to give in at all, Meng Yushan said no more, took back the materials, turned around and left. And at the same time he was full of confusion. The shopkeeper behind him glanced at the materials with a slightly reluctant look, as if he was a little reluctant to part with them, but then he laughed at himself and said, "Haha, there are not many others in Beifang City, but there are so many casual cultivators. Is it possible that they are afraid of collecting them? Don't have the materials?" Behind him, the clerk on the other side also echoed, "Hey, shopkeeper, don't worry. The war situation is turbulent now, and the prices in the entire market are like this. After asking around, he will have to come over sooner or later to sell." After Meng Yushan left, he continued to ask several other stores, but the answer he received was still the same. For materials that could originally be sold for 500 spirit stones, most shops are only willing to sell them for 300 to 350 spirit stones, which is a discount of more than half. What is going on? The price of materials has dropped so much, almost half, Lin Yuan asked, slightly confused. Meng Yushan also shook his head. This was something that had never happened before. Huanyiang speculated. Could it be because of the impact of the war? It should be very possible. That's all. Just keep these materials. Selling them at this price is really a loss. Although Meng Yushan was dissatisfied, he did not intend to dwell too much on it. Instead, he got up and went to Baiyan Pavilion, intending to buy some training materials, such as elixirs and talismans, to prepare for the next hunt for monsters. As soon as we arrived in front of Baiyan Pavilion, many monks had already gathered in front. Just by taking a glance, Meng Yushan saw many familiar faces. Many of them were casual cultivators from the nearby area, and there were even 2 9th-level qi refining cultivators. A bottle of qi and blood pill costs 100 spirit stones. Why don't you guys go and rob it? A first-level inferior blood coagulation pill costs 30 spirit stones. Isn't that a bit too much? A stack of first-level inferior fireball talismans costs 40 spirit stones. Isn't that simply robbing? Damn, these bastards. The purchase price of monster materials has dropped by more than 40%, but the price of pills and talismans has increased by 50%. Do they really think we are fools? That's right. The materials obtained from hunting monsters are not as good as the spirit stones spent on buying talismans and pills. Do you really think we are easy to bully? The store owner responded to everyone with a slightly sarcastic voice. Expensive? Where is it expensive? Don't talk nonsense with your eyes open. When you have time, find out the reason for yourself. Have you practiced well? Have you worked hard to hunt monsters? Say it again. A casual cultivator was so angry that he wanted to step forward to argue, but the next moment, the store owner showed the aura of the peak of the 9th level of qi refining, which immediately made everyone speechless. Blushed, but in the end they could only be indignant. Some chose to leave directly, while others gritted their teeth and bought a small amount of pills and talismans. Although the faces of several casual cultivators at the 9th level of qi refining were livid, they did not rashly conflict with the store owner. Although the other party only had one 9th level qi refining strongman, his strength should not be underestimated, and there were even more powerful forces behind him. If provoked, the consequences would be disastrous. So the casual cultivators could only swallow their anger and leave. However, when they turned around, they saw Meng Yushan and Lin Yuan, and couldn't help but exclaimed, obviously aware of their strength. Chapter 137 Conversation at Kinaiyu Tower. In the nearby area, the casual cultivators at the 9th level of qi refining are all well known, and almost all of them know each other. Therefore, the sudden appearance of 2 strangers from the 9th level of qi refining inevitably attracted people's attention, and they looked at these 2 people curiously. After seeing the scene just now, Meng Yushan knew that it would be difficult to sell materials or buy elixirs and talismans today. At the same time, he was also quite curious about what happened in Beifang City recently. So, he simply did not go into the store to inquire about the price. Instead, he walked towards the 2 9th level qi refining experts and took the initiative to invite them. 2 casual cultivators. I am on Meng Yushan. Can you get to know them? The 2 9th level qi refining experts looked at each other and did not refuse, but asked, Meng Yushan, it seems that you have some impression that you are also casual cultivators of this generation? Meng Yushan nodded and said, I used to be in the hunting team of Senior Wei Hanshan. I participated in the siege of the First Order top-level peak monster fire lizard 12 years ago. I may have met fellow Taoist. Hearing this, the vigilance in their eyes dissipated a lot. When Meng Yushan, Lin Yuan, and Zhalan were just starting out, they had joined the hunting team of a 9th level qi refining casual cultivator named Wei Hanshan, who was a very prestigious casual cultivator in the nearby area. Almost everyone knows him. The siege and killing of the fire lizard was also a very famous event at that time. 5 teams of casual cultivators led by the 9th level Qi refining expert jointly surrounded and killed 2 first-level peak fire lizards, and Wei Hanshan, as well as one of the 2 9th level Qi refining expert in front of him, participated. When Meng Yushan accurately stated these things, the 2 of them lowered their guard a lot. One of them took the initiative and said, I have long heard that Mr. Wei is powerful, upright, and respected by others. Since he is one of his team members, it is worth making friends with him. Meng Yushan smiled and said, we might as well move to Kinaiyu Tower and host a banquet for the 2 Taoist friends below. Okay, then I am welcome. Most casual cultivators at the 9th level of Qi refining will know each other, which will facilitate future exchanges and mutual assistance. If necessary, they will also cooperate to hunt powerful monsters. The group of people went to Kinaiyu Tower together. This is a very famous restaurant in Beifang City. It has an elegant environment, delicious ingredients and rich spiritual energy. It is also the most famous for Kinaiyu Lingjiu, which is favored by many casual cultivators and families. It's just that the quality of Kinaiyu Tower is quite high and ordinary cultivators can't afford it. Only casual cultivators on the 9th level of Qi refining can barely spend money here. Meng Yushan just glanced at the bill and was shocked by the price. Just a bowl of jiabaling tofu cost as much as 30 spirit stones, which could almost buy a stack of first-level mid-grade talismans. As for other meals with expensive ingredients, the prices are even more terrifying. If he were to eat them freely, Meng Yushan would probably bleed heavily. In the end, he gritted his teeth and ordered 5 plates of medium-priced side dishes, fragrant dew chicken, bailing dew soup, drunken clam meat, Lincoln chicken feet, green lotus root slices, and a pot of Kinaiyu stuffed rice. When they saw these meals being served, the expressions of the 2 9th level Qi practitioners also changed slightly, and they glanced at Meng Yushan and Lin Yuan with slight surprise. The price of this table of food is conservatively estimated to be over 100 spirit stones. Even many monks at the 9th level of Qi refining would find it difficult to afford it, but the person in front of him is so generous and his strength is obviously quite impressive. Moreover, the 2 of them also clearly noticed that the strength of Bai Kaiyulan, Huanglong and the other 5 people had all reached the 8th level of Qi training. The strength of the hunting team can also represent the strength of the monks to a certain extent, which further strengthened the 2 people's determination to become friends. But they didn't know that Meng Yushan and Lin Yuan were not 2 hunting teams, but the same hunting team. If they knew the situation, they would be even more shocked. After 3 rounds of drinking, the relationship between the 2 parties became much closer, and one of the older, 9th level Qi refining experts took the initiative to speak. 2 fellow Taoists, for hosting us so generously, it should be more than just friendship, right? At this time, Meng Yushan also had a deeper understanding of these 2 people. Among them, the old man was named Zhao, and the middle-aged casual cultivator was named Wang Qin. They were both well-known casual cultivators in this area. The 2 of them did not know Meng Yushan and Lin Yuan, but Meng Yushan and Lin Yuan had heard of their names for a long time. Meng Yushan put down the wine glass in his hand and took the initiative to answer, "Thank you, fellow Taoist, I am inviting you two to this banquet. On the one hand, I really want to get to know you too. On the other hand, I also want to ask some questions." "Ask some questions?" Zhao's eyes moved slightly and he thought for a while. "Is it about the price situation in Beifang City?" "That's right." Meng Yushan nodded, suppressed the drunkenness on his face and asked seriously, "The price of items such as elixirs, talismans, and magic weapons has increased." "I can understand it. After all, the Qingshan sect and the Lingding sect are at war. For these the demand for items is high, so it's understandable that the value will increase. But it stands to reason that now that the war situation is tense and various resources are insufficient, the price of monster materials will also rise." "But why is the purchase price of materials also reduced so much?" Hearing this question, Zhao let out a long sigh and explained, "The reduction in the purchase price of monster materials is actually due to many reasons. The first is the increase in the number of casual cultivators, and even a large number of families and sects, coming nearby. the amount of monster materials increased significantly. But this is not the main factor. After all, no matter how much material there is, the market will eventually be able to consume it without affecting the price. The main reason is actually the intervention of the family and sect forces. Family and sect power? Can you elaborate? Meng Yushan said. Zhao continued, fellow Taoist, you don't know that all the shops in Bay Market are controlled by these families and sects, so whether the price goes up or down, it is not entirely determined by market demand, but also by them. Now, the war is urgent. King Shan sect oppresses all forces, and all forces dare not resist, so they can only continue to oppress the weaker qi-refining families and independent cultivators, so as to reduce costs and accumulate some foundation for their own forces. Speaking of this, Zhao smiled bitterly and said, we independent cultivators are trying to survive in the cracks. Even if they oppress us like this, what can we do? Hearing this, Meng Yushan was silent. He naturally understood these principles. The gap in strength made independent cultivators unable to resist these powerful forces, because the structure of independent cultivator groups was too weak to withstand the impact. As for going to other markets to sell, this is also nonsense. The distance between the two markets is at least several months, and it is very likely to encounter danger on the way. If you are not careful, you will die on the way. Chapter 138, Establishing a Market Exclusively for Independent Cultivators. Therefore, even if the various shops in Beifang City become more and more aggressive, constantly lowering the purchase price of materials, and raising the prices of elixirs, magic tools, and talismans, there is nothing that casual cultivators can do. You have to sell when you should sell. You still have to buy when you should buy. For a moment, the atmosphere in the whole room was a little depressing. The oppression of family and sect forces is no longer a matter of a day or two. It has been with him throughout his entire career as a casual cultivator. Especially small cities like Beifang City are not controlled by powerful forces, so all forces are more unscrupulous. If it were a large city controlled by King Shan sect, such as Laiyu and Fang City, this situation would most likely not happen. After all, prices represent credibility. If they are changed at will, it will inevitably damage the prestige of all parties. Therefore, medium and large-scale cities under the independent control of powerful families and sects will have strict rules and will not be as bad as the situation in Beifang City. Wang Qin also sighed and advised, you two Taoists should just accept your fate. The current situation is like this. Even if a strong foundation builder comes, there is nothing we can do. If you really don't want to give in, then just hoard the materials first, and wait until the price stabilizes before selling them. We are all the same. We only sell some low-value materials, and keep the good stuff until the price take action when appropriate. Meng Yushan was silent, and Lin Yuan also frowned. Suddenly, Lin Yuan said, thank you, fellow Taoist Wang. Since the shops in Beifang City behave like this, then why do we have to hang ourselves on a tree? Zhao frowned slightly and asked, what do you mean, fellow Taoist Lin? Lin Yuan lowered his eyes and said, since the family and sect forces are oppressing us casual cultivators, then why don't we just leave Beifang City and build a small city of our own, only for internal exchanges and cooperation among the casual cultivators? As Lin Yuan's words fell, the scene fell into silence for a moment, leaving only the sound of slightly heavy breathing. After a long time, Zhao sigh broke the silence. Oh, fellow Taoist Lin, you think too simplistically. How can it be so easy to establish a small market, even if it is just an ultra-small trading place? It is not easy. Is this troublesome? Lin Yuan asked doubtfully. After all, he was young and had far less knowledge than the older generation of casual cultivators, so he naturally asked without thinking. Zhao was not bored and took the initiative to explain, there are indeed many obstacles. For example, if you want to build a small city, you first need strong strength to clean up a safe environment, and in the later stage, you need to arrange strong people to carry out the work. Only by guarding can we ensure that the city is not invaded by monsters. Secondly, there must be talents in magic weapons, elixirs, talismans, etc., to supply these necessary items for practicing and hunting monsters. Otherwise, it will just be used as a trading place for bartering, and it cannot be called a workshop at all. City. Finally, we need strong people to take the lead so that this city can have credibility and make people want to stay here for a long time. Zhao asked a lot of questions, which made Meng Yushan and Lin Yuan fall into thinking. To be honest, what the casual cultivators lack is never all kinds of precious materials, because they are active in the wild, and a large part of the materials used by the forces and families come from the casual cultivators. However, what casual cultivators lack is the ability to transform these materials into high-level cultivation resources, so they must rely on various forces to survive. However, when Meng Yushan thought deeply, he was surprised to find that perhaps these problems are not difficult to solve. There are no more than 3 difficulties: leaders, various immortal cultivation skills, and a safe environment. The leader can be taken by the 9th level chi refining casual cultivators. They already have a certain reputation among the casual cultivators, and their strength is not weak, so they can fully play this role to a certain extent. In a safe city environment, this is relatively difficult. At least an environment is needed that has sufficient aura, can withstand the attacks of monsters, and has a certain space for development. But Meng Yushan knew that with the support of the young master, he only needed to find an environment with spiritual energy. Later, he could use formations to protect him and combine the terrain to form a safe city environment. This problem could also be solved. In the end, only the skills of cultivating immortals, the necessary elixirs, magic weapons, talismans, etc. are left, which are an important part of the monk's strength. Among casual cultivators, although there are a few people who know a little bit about the art of cultivating immortals, such as Hu and Niang, these are still a very small number of people. Therefore, this has become the most difficult restriction for building a city. After thinking in his mind for a long time, Meng Yushan still did not give up. Instead, he looked at Zhao and the two of them and said, "Two fellow Taoists, the situation of casual cultivators is already very bad now, and the oppression of the family and sect forces is getting more and more serious. If we don't seek changes as soon as possible, I'm afraid the situation will only get worse in the future. Of course we understand the truth, but it's not something you and I can change." Zhao said helplessly. "Thank you, fellow Taoist. If a 9th level chi refining expert takes the lead and finds an area with spiritual veins to jointly build a miniature market, do you think it is possible?" Zhao frowned slightly, shook his head and said, "Spiritual veins are rare, and most of them are occupied by family forces. Even if we can jointly fight for one, subsequent garrisoning will be a problem, and it will be difficult to ensure that it will not be attacked and plundered by monsters." When Meng Yushan heard this, his eyes narrowed and he lowered his voice and said, "What if a formation master takes action and arranges a formation around this spiritual vein?" "Array, master?" The eyes of the two people changed slightly, and they took a deep look at Meng Yushan. Seeing that he didn't seem to be joking, I was even more shocked, so after thinking for a while, I said, "If there is really a formation to protect you, this matter has a slight chance of success, but do these two fellow Taoists have the channels of formation masters?" Meng Yushan smiled and did not answer directly. After all, he could not make the decision alone and needed to return to the valley to report. However, such an attitude has convinced Zhao and Wang Qin that the two people in front of them may be the channels for the formation masters, and their attitudes can't help but become more solemn. Zhao thought deeply and said, "If the venue problem is solved, then the art of cultivating immortals may not be particularly difficult." "Oh?" Meng Yushan couldn't help but looked happy and asked, "Can you solve this problem?" Zhao waved his hand and said with a smile, "After all, there are only a few casual cultivators who are proficient in the art of cultivating immortals, but we can solve this problem with the help of others." "Who?" Meng Yushan, Lin Yuan, and Wang Qin all looked at Zhao in confusion. Zhao said calmly, "The power of the Qilian family." "Qi refining family?" Wang Qin asked back, Thinking about it carefully, he couldn't help but frown. The same is true for Meng Yushan and Lin Yuan. They originally tried to open up a trading place exclusively for casual cultivators in order to avoid the influence of their families and sects. But now they want to join the qi refining family, which is really puzzling for them. Chapter 139 Earth Dragon Armor and Wind Hunting Bow. Seeing the puzzled eyes of several people, Zhao smiled and explained, "Your thinking is rigid. The families and sects that oppress us are actually mainly the foundation-building forces. Most of the qi refining families can't even afford to buy shops in the market, and they themselves are in a state of oppression. Their living environment is not much better than ours. Especially some families that are proficient in immortal cultivation skills are often more easily restricted by powerful families. If you go and find out, you will easily find this situation." Meng Yushan and Lin Yuan remained silent, not because they disagreed with this statement. If they were casual cultivators, they would not understand these situations at all. But if Zhou Daocheng was here, he would definitely agree with this statement, because this situation had also happened to the Zhou family. It's just that the Zhou family used to be an oppressor, squeezing out other small qi refining families that were proficient in refining skills. After all, if a qi refining family has a benefit of cultivating immortals, it will definitely be easier to develop. If they are left alone and allowed to become foundation-building forces, or even have second-level refining skills, it will inevitably affect the Zhou family, which is something the Zhou family does not want to see. Therefore, necessary oppression is indispensable. Meng Yushan was not clear about these situations, but he did not deny them directly. After thinking about it, he asked, "Can Dao contact these families? These forces are often more cautious. If we contact them now, they will naturally not be willing to join us, but if the market has been established, I believe they will definitely agree." Meng Yushan nodded slightly and said, "If so, we may really be able to establish a super small market, or even set aside the next best thing and set up a place for casual cultivators to trade." Zhao nodded and said, "Yes, if the formation there is no problem with the venue, so there is a certain possibility. In this case, are you willing to contact other Taoists at the 9th level of qi refining? I will contact the formation master and discuss this matter together." Hearing this, Zhao's face showed surprise, and he said, "Are you kidding? Are you really going to do this?" Meng Yushan laughed heartily, "We are free cultivators, and our situation has reached such a point, so why should we be afraid of giving it a try?" "That's true." Zhao and Wang Qin looked at each other, and saw the throbbing in each other's eyes, and their hearts couldn't help but surge a little more. "In this case, Wang Dao and I will contact other Taoists at the 9th level of qi refining, and this matter is settled." The two sides talked happily, and after leaving each other the contact information of the communication stone, they left. Zhao and Wang Qin began to contact other free cultivators at the 9th level of qi refining, and Meng Yushan and his group also temporarily changed their plans and returned directly to the valley. Bailin Lake. Zhou Daocheng's life is leisurely and comfortable. Every day, he stayed in the thick earth spirit formation to practice, and his strength improved quickly. He had reached the peak of the 8th level of qi refining, and it would not take long for him to break through the 9th level of qi refining. When he had nothing to do, he taught Daowen, Dixiu, Chengshu, and Qingxi to practice. They were all very hard-working, and their strength improvement was not slow. At the same time, he also taught Daowen and Chengshu to learn the knowledge of formations. The two had barely gotten started and began to try to arrange the spirit-gathering formation. However, if they wanted to truly become a formation master, they would need a long time of hard work. The development of Bailin Lake was also gradually getting on the right track. Under Zhao Yunzhi's control, the underwater cave was gradually being built. Whether it was the underwater warehouses on the east and west sides, or the underwater cave on the north side, that is, the side of the valley, they had already taken shape. There were also the planting of spiritual medicines, the growth of green-bearded spiritual shrimps, the breeding of Zhao Yunzhi's silk, and even the reproduction of purple armored swallowing spirit ants. They were all in a thriving state of development. Zhou Daocheng sat cross-legged in the underground cave, surrounded by the earth yellow wu earth spiritual energy. As the spiritual energy slowly converged, his body was as heavy as a mountain. Opening his eyes, he couldn't help but sigh. Time flies. It's been 2 or 3 months since Meng Yushan and Lin Yuan left. I wonder if everything went well. Slowly exhaling a breath of turbid air, Zhou Daocheng was still a little worried about the two of them. After all, the environment around Beifang City is more complicated now, and there are many strong people. Although the two are not weak, they will inevitably encounter some dangers. Forget it. Worrying is useless. Let's go to the underwater cave to see how my magic weapon is being refined. After speaking, Zhou Daocheng got up and walked out of the underground cave and went to the underwater cave. Panzu came to the entrance of the underwater cave and walked into the long passage. The luminous stones inlaid on the stone wall illuminated the space and led all the way to the bottom of the water. The originally cold underwater cave is now full of life under the management of the Zhou family. The Zhou family members come and go in the corridor and look very busy. After confirming that there is enough living space in Bailin Lake, the family transferred another batch of clansmen here, and the number of clansmen here has also increased a lot. Zhou Daocheng walked in the passage and found that the atmosphere of life here was very strong. Even in a room deep inside, he could hear the sound of reading aloud. It should be the children brought from the family who were receiving education from their elders. No matter when and where, education is an indispensable link. Whether it is basic knowledge of cultivating immortals or advanced skills of cultivating immortals, it takes time to learn and hone. Even Zhou Daocheng and the other 4 were arranged by Zhou Daocheng to come down and receive education from the family, so that they would not run around on the island. After Zhou Daocheng secretly observed the school, he was very satisfied and walked all the way to the depths. When I came to Zhu Qinyan's cave, I wanted to ask about the status of the magical artifact, but no one in the cave responded. After asking other tribesmen, they found Zhu Qinyan farming in the deepest part of the underwater cave. I have to talk about the layout of the entire underwater cave. The entire underwater cave is surrounded by a training cave, a weapon refining room, a school, etc. And in the deepest part is a space specially opened up by Zhao Yunzhi for planting and breeding. There is the most primitive and extremely fertile underwater soil here, separated by water-sheltering stones, forming a spacious space. When Zhou Daocheng arrived, he saw several family elders busy here. It can be roughly seen that this should be a kind of mushroom-like spiritual plant that lives in dark caves. It can live in dark and humid environments, so it is very suitable here. Grandpa Qinyan, I wonder what kind of plant this is. Why have I never seen it before? Zhou Daocheng walked up to ask with a smile. When Zhu Qinyan saw Zhou Daocheng's upon arrival, he also showed a happy expression. He hurriedly crawled out of the mud and said with a smile, "Ha ha ha, of course you have never seen Daocheng. This is what your 15th uncle accidentally found from a cave recently. It's called Daocheng. Earth spirit meat mushroom can not only grow in large quantities in a dark and humid environment, but is also rich in spiritual energy and can replace spiritual rice to a certain extent. I think this place is empty. I have to plant something to make up for my daily needs. Maybe I can be completely self-sufficient in this underwater cave." Zhou Daocheng also nodded and sighed. It is indeed good. The new living environment, coupled with the new spiritual plants, if it develops well, maybe it can add another industry to the family. Chapter 140 Current Situation of Underground Cave. Zhu Qinyan showed a bright and peaceful smile on his face, and was very satisfied with the environment here. Since the family suffered a great disaster and the strong men in the family died one after another, the old clan member has not been so happy for a long time. However, when he came to Bailin Lake and saw the hidden means of this younger generation of the Dao generation in this hidden underwater cave, hope was rekindled in his heart. Daocheng, you came here specifically, should you ask about the magic weapon? After Zhu Qinyan asked a few words about his well-being, he returned to the main topic. Zhou Daocheng nodded and said, "Not bad. Then come with me. The magic weapon has been refined for you, completely according to your requirements. But I don't know if you are satisfied." The two came to a warehouse next to the refining room. where a large number of materials needed for refining were placed. Some were brought from the family, and some were some natural treasures accidentally discovered by the Zhou family members when they explored nearby. Of course, Zhou Daocheng would occasionally provide some refining materials. In addition to the refining materials, there is also a wooden shelf with many boxes on it, some long and some short, of different sizes, which should be various magic tools. Zhou Qingyan walked forward and took down two small but extremely exquisite boxes. Then he handed them to Zhou Daocheng. As soon as he got it in his hand, Zhou Daocheng felt that the magic tool was unusually heavy, and there was a faint heavy breath coming out. After opening it, an even heavier breath came to his face, and what came into view was a set of extremely thick armor, which was khaki in color and had a frosted feel of rock on the surface. Zhou Qingyan introduced, Daocheng, this is the defensive magic tool you want, called Earth Dragon Armor, and the material used is the first-grade top-grade Earth Dragon Scales, which has extremely strong defensive power, and the attributes are completely consistent with you. Zhou Daocheng's eyes lit up. Even if he didn't say it, he could sense that this set of armor was extraordinary. Most of the defensive magic tools in the market should not be as good as this Earth Dragon Armor, which is enough to show that Zhou Qingyan is very attentive. After Zhou Daocheng put it on, he found that the armor fits his body perfectly, and the thick defense brings a great sense of security. However, there are some shortcomings, that is, this magic weapon is too heavy and slightly inconvenient to wear, especially in daily situations. It cannot be worn as inner armor for a long time, which is a big regret, but it is precisely because of this that the defense of this magic weapon is so strong. Another magic weapon, the quality of which also reaches the first-class upper grade, is a bow and arrow magic weapon, hunting wind bow. Among the magic weapons of the same level, it is also a top-grade existence, and its power should not be underestimated. Moreover, matching arrows are specially refined, and the quality also reaches the first-class upper grade, which can multiply the power of this magic weapon. Zhou Daocheng gently stroked the two magic weapons, and his eyes were very satisfied. Not bad, not bad. With these two magic weapons, my strength will definitely be greatly enhanced. With the protection of the formation, coupled with the powerful defense of the ground scale armor, his safety has been greatly improved. As a pure attacking magic weapon, the hunting wind arrow can also enrich his combat methods and add a powerful attack. With one attack and one defense, the combat options become more abundant. Thank you, Grandpa Qingyan. These two magic weapons are very suitable for me. You are worthy of being the top weapon refiner of my Zhou family. Zhou Qingyan waved his hand and smiled. My skills are nothing. The future of the Zhou family has to be handed over to you children. Daocheng, you are much more useful than us old men. You can't say that. Zhou Daocheng was about to say a few words of comfort, but was interrupted and blasted out by Zhou Qingyan. Okay, don't comfort Grandpa. Hurry up and do your own things. Grandpa, I have to go back to plant earth spirit meat mushrooms, but I don't have time to chat with you. As he said, he blasted Zhou Daocheng out directly. Zhou Daocheng also smiled helplessly, bowed and said goodbye, and returned to the underground cave. The underground cave, as his most hidden cave, stores the most precious resources and is also the place he cares about most. The underground cave, as his most hidden cave, stores the most precious resources and is also the place he cares about most. Purple chi green bamboo, the black patterned lotus, the soul-devouring ant colony, and all the spiritual stones and materials are stored in the underground cave. Zhou Daocheng took a rough look and found that the purple chi green bamboo was growing very well. The highest quality one was infinitely close to the second grade middle grade, but due to the lack of spiritual energy, it could not break through for the time being. As for the other four, they have all reached the quality of the first grade upper grade, not far from the second grade. Even Zhou Daocheng had to sigh that the effect of the innate purple chi was really terrifying, which greatly enhanced the potential of the green bamboo. Originally, the green bamboo could only reach the first grade upper grade at most, but after using the innate purple chi, it was conservatively estimated that it could reach the second grade upper grade, or even higher. In particular, The first purple chi green bamboo may have already left the category of ordinary spiritual plants and become a more precious innate spiritual object, because it has shown a feature: it can emit spiritual energy on its own. Now, even without the spiritual spring, relying solely on the spiritual energy released by the purple chi green bamboo, it can barely reach the first grade upper grade. This is almost equivalent to an independent spiritual vein, which is also a feature of innate spiritual objects. As long as there is an innate spiritual object by your side, it is almost equivalent to carrying a spiritual vein with you, and the spiritual energy released by the innate spiritual object is purer and richer than ordinary spiritual energy. This makes the value of the purple spiritual bamboo hundreds of times higher than the original spiritual bamboo. Zhou Daocheng often thinks that it is a pity if such a powerful purple spiritual bamboo is only made into a first-class spiritual sword formation. It would be best to wait until the foundation building period is broken through, and then use this to arrange a more powerful second-level formation to directly cover the entire Balan Lake and the valley, and completely protect the entire station. But the only regret is that no more green bamboo shoots grew in the later period, except for the 5 green bamboo shoots that grew at the beginning. No more grew afterwards, resulting in the scale of the purple-green bamboo not expanding, which is a big regret. Next to the purple-green bamboo, the black lotus grows slower and its potential is far less than that of the purple-green bamboo. At present, the black lotus barely reaches the peak of the first-level upper grade, and has grown rhizomes and lotus leaves, adding a vitality to the monotonous spiritual spring. In the future, when it breaks through the second level, it should be able to grow lotus. These two plants are one of the most precious items in Zhou Daocheng's hands, but fortunately, they do not need to worry too much about their growth, and they have been developing steadily. In the underground cave, the only thing to worry about is the soul-devouring ant colony. After more than 2 months, the soul-devouring ant colony has also begun to reproduce. In the ant nest built with fertile spiritual soil, the first batch of 20 soul-devouring ants have been born, and now their strength has reached the first level lower grade, and they are absorbing spiritual honey to improve their strength. Chapter 141 Purple Armored Spirit Devouring Ant. In the initial development stage of the ant colony, it is mainly based on resource investment, and it cannot produce spiritual honey on its own in a short period of time. Zhou Daocheng walked closer to check, picked up a baby fist-sized soul-swallowing ant, and carefully observed its changes. This is not an ordinary soul-swallowing ant, but a soul-swallowing ant that has absorbed the innate purple chi and changed its race and characteristics to a certain extent. The purple chi blood inherited from the queen ant has indeed changed them a little, which surprised Zhou Daocheng. This first-level inferior purple chi soul-swallowing ant is slightly larger than the ordinary soul-swallowing ant, and looks more domineering. The black carapace, with complex lavender patterns and a mysterious light, looks extremely exquisite, like a work of art. Zhou Daocheng roughly checked it and found that it was only the defense, which was more than 30% stronger than the ordinary soul-swallowing ant, and it also had a certain resistance to water and fire and other attributes, so it would not be burned to death by the flames. Moreover, the 4 limbs of the soul-devouring ants that have absorbed the innate purple chi are obviously stronger, their strength is greatly improved, and their combat effectiveness is also rising. In addition, the soul-devouring ants' most important means of attack, the mouthparts, have also become as sharp as a blade. Although their strength is relatively low now, they can easily eat hard doors. These 3 changes are all things that the original soul-devouring ants never had, and almost doubled the overall strength of the soul-devouring ants. According to Zhou Daocheng's estimation, a purple chi soul-devouring ant should be able to easily fight against 5 ordinary soul-devouring ants of the same level. Is this the effect of the innate purple chi? It's really terrible. Zhou Daocheng couldn't help but sigh. The enhancement of individual strength may seem insignificant, but in fact, the effect brought by this change is far more powerful than imagined. You should know that this huge change in strength does not only appear in one soul-devouring ant, but all soul-devouring ants bred in the future can increase their strength by more than 5 times. In this way, the strength that the entire soul-devouring ant colony can improve is enough to exceed imagination. Strictly speaking, after the improvement of the innate purple energy, This is no longer a soul-devouring ant colony, but another completely different special ant colony. Based on the original soul-devouring ant colony, it has a stronger physique and strength, and may also have some special abilities, but Zhou Daocheng has not noticed it yet. So after thinking about it, Zhou Daocheng made a decision. The soul-devouring ant was officially renamed Purple Armored Soul-Devouring Ant. It is conceivable that as the Purple Armored Soul-Devouring Ants completely develop into a huge ant colony, the combat power they can show must be very terrifying. At least they can crush ordinary soul-devouring ants. But now, their strength is still too weak. Now in the entire ant colony, there is only one combat force, a second-level inferior male soul-devouring ant. The strength is far inferior to that of a foundation-building strongman, and only has the strength of the 9th level of chi refining. Zhou Daocheng roughly checked it out, and then continued to feed some spiritual honey to replenish the energy of the purple armored soul-devouring ant queen. It can be found that a new batch of ant eggs in the ant nest are already hatching, with a slightly larger number than the first batch, and they should be able to hatch successfully in a while. In this way, the number of ant colonies will expand rapidly in a few months at most. Zhou Daocheng is full of expectations for this extremely powerful spirit ant. As long as this ant colony can develop to its original scale, and it is the more powerful purple armor-swallowing spirit ant, then Balan Lake will be considered to have sufficient strength. Even the entire the Zhou family has the capital to rise again. After settling down, Zhou Daocheng was not in a hurry, but stayed in the underground cave to practice. But before he practiced for long, he was interrupted by the communication between Meng Yushan and Lin Yuan. Zhou Daocheng looked at the information on the communication stone, raised his eyebrows, and muttered to himself, "Why did the two of them come back early? Did something unexpected happen?" According to the original arrangement, the two would expand as casual cultivators in the past 6 months or even several years, but they never thought that only a few months later, the two would come back again. Zhou Daocheng did not delay and got up and went to the valley. When they saw Meng Yushan and Lin Yuan, they also saw the group of people behind them, and their eyes lit up. There were a dozen people in total, 5 of whom had reached the 8th level of chi refining, and their ores were not weak, so they should be considered to be relatively strong in the same level. The remaining dozen people had also reached the 6th and 7th levels of chi refining. These were Bei Kaiyulan, Huang Long, Wu Xiangling, Huanayang, Daolan and others who came to the valley for the first time. When they walked into this hidden mountain and felt the rich spiritual energy and the peaceful and prosperous development environment, they were all stunned for a while. The first-class spiritual veins, neatly arranged spiritual fields, gurgling springs, and the protection of the mysterious formations. Originally, they thought that Meng Yushan's description of the valley was somewhat exaggerated, but now that they saw it with their own eyes, they found that it was even better. The environment here is no weaker than the base of a powerful force, and even better in some aspects. Young Master. Young Master. Meng Yushan and Lin Yuan bowed respectfully and greeted him, which also brought back the thoughts of Bei Kaiyulan and others. The group looked at the young man in front of them with curiosity, but the next moment, they felt a heavy breath like the abyss emanating from the young man. What a terrifying breath! This kind of strength! The peak of the 9th level of chi refining? With shock and courtesy, the group also bowed respectfully. Zhou Daocheng just waved his hand and asked Meng Yushan about the situation of everyone. The 5 leaders, Bei Kaiyulan, Huang Long, Wu Xiangling, Huanayang, and Daolan, are all cultivators of the 8th level of chi refining. The remaining dozen people are members of Wu Xiangling and Daolan's hunting team. After the 2 leaders joined the valley, the others also joined. Of course, Meng Yushan had made arrangements in advance, asking Wu Xiangling and Daolan to learn the secret method of spirit and control the members of his hunting team. This was also Zhou Daocheng's request, to ensure that everyone who returned to the valley could be strictly controlled in his hands to avoid any unexpected situations. After a general understanding, Zhou Daocheng also made arrangements for them. Still on the cliff of the valley, let them dig a cave by themselves and officially settle down in the valley. But if they want to fully integrate, It should take some time to get in touch. Zhou Daocheng took Meng Yushan and Lin Yuan goes to a meeting room on the cliff to learn more about the situation of this outing. Chapter 142 Assignment of Tasks. Meng Yushan knew everything and told everything, including hunting the purple demon wolf spider, subduing Bei Kailan and others, subsequently discovering the oppression of casual cultivators in Beifang City, and finally reconciling Zizao and Wang. The two of them were talking about the micro-market for casual cultivators. I hope you will be punished by me. I made my own decision and agreed to the micro-market, but it is indeed profitable, Meng Yushan said solemnly. Zhou Daocheng waved his hand, ignored Meng Yushan's plea, and began to think seriously in his mind. He now also understands that the purpose of Meng Yushan and others coming back early is very simple, which is to inform him about the micro-square market. And this matter is indeed no small matter. It affects all the casual cultivators around Beifang City, and even involves some small family forces. But there is no doubt that the valley can indeed benefit from such a bold idea and change the status quo to a great extent. The price changes in Beifang City will definitely not end in a short time, and things like this will definitely not happen just once in the future. There is nothing new under the sun. If you want to get rid of it once and for all, there are only two ways: either become one of the controllers of Beifang City and profit from the oppressor, or completely break away from the Beifang City system, and just like Meng Yushan said, establish a mini Fang City among casual cultivators and become an independent existence. Moreover, as the advocate and founder of the micro-market, Zhou Daocheng can also make profits from it and obtain a large amount of resources and casual cultivation. This is also a rare opportunity. Therefore, not only would Zhou Daocheng not complain about Meng Yushan, he would even admire his boldness and decisiveness for actually directly contacting other 9th level qi refining cultivators to settle the matter, which solved a big trouble. In the future, as long as the plan is finalized and any difficulties that may arise are resolved, perhaps this micro-market dedicated to casual cultivators can really be realized. There is no need to worry about leadership issues. The only things that need to be considered are the location of the market and the talent for cultivating immortals. Just as Meng Yushan arranged, as long as we find a suitable environment and cooperate with Zhou Daocheng's formation protection, the Fangxi location is actually very easy to solve. But the skill of cultivating immortals has become the most troublesome problem. The Zhou family members can solve the magic weapon very well, and even inject fresh power into the downtrodden Zhou family to restore vitality. When it comes to alchemy, Qinlai can barely be considered an alchemist, but with his level, Zhou Daocheng really doesn't have much confidence. The success rate is less than 30%. And the elixir materials consumed are probably not as much as the spiritual stones earned. Not to mention the talisman, no one seems to be proficient in it. Perhaps, the advice put forward by the 9th level qi refining casual cultivator is actually the best solution. Zhou Daocheng only thought for a moment and understood that those qi refining families who were proficient in the art of cultivating immortals but were weak could indeed become allies. They are also oppressed, and they also need a new platform, which can definitely better integrate into the micro-market. When Zhou Daocheng thought about all the problems, he had already made a decision in his heart. Looking at Meng Yushan, Zhou Daocheng said calmly, "You did a good job, so according to your plan, what are your next plans?" After receiving the affirmation, Meng Yushan also smiled and said, "The next step is to ask the young master to go and meet with other casual cultivators of the 9th level of qi refining, at least give a guarantee on the formation to ensure that the follow-up plan can continue." After saying this, Meng Yushan thought for a while and added, "At the same time, it also demonstrates our strength and ensures that we occupy a dominant position in this operation, so that we can obtain greater benefits when the benefits are distributed in the future." Zhou Daocheng slightly and glanced at Meng Yushan with satisfaction. After this period of training, Meng Yushan has obviously matured a lot. Both the way he handles things and his overall layout ability are gradually improving. Compared to Lin Yuan, who was sloppy on the side, his performance was countless times better. "Then let's go and have a look." Zhou Daocheng thought for a moment and agreed. After all, the people in the valley and Balin Lake, and even the entire Zhou family, are no longer much different from casual cultivators. Without the support of strong foundation builders, we can only be the oppressed. Therefore, the situation in Beifang City will sooner or later affect the Zhou family and Bailin Lake. The longer the war lasts, the greater the impact will inevitably be. If this continues for a long time, it will definitely affect future development to a great extent. In the next few days, Meng Yushan and others stayed in the valley. On the one hand, waiting for information from the casual cultivators. On the other hand, it also helps newcomers such as Bai Kailan integrate into the valley. For the dozen or so new people who joined, Zhou Daocheng also made new arrangements to allow them to participate in various developments in the valley. Nowadays, there are two huge projects in the valley that are in urgent need of manpower, namely the construction of underwater caves and the development of planting and breeding industries. The construction of the underwater cave was mainly managed by Zhao Yunzhi, but due to lack of manpower, the progress was always slow. Therefore, Zhou Daocheng was very generous this time and directly assigned a group of members from the 6th and 7th levels of Qi refining to join Zhao Yunzhi's construction team. As for the planting and breeding industry, Qinlai has been in charge of it before, but now, there is a more professional person, Huaniyang. As a spiritual planter, Huaniyang is naturally more professional in the cultivation and care of spiritual herbs. Therefore, from now on, Huaniyang will be fully responsible for the cultivation of elixirs in the valley, and she will also be assigned some manpower from the 6th and 7th levels of Qi refining. In this way, all the cultivators of the 6th and 7th levels of Qi refining in the valley, including the original Huang Zhao, Zhang Yan and others, as well as the hunting team members of Wu Xiangling and Zhalan who joined later, were all arranged and assigned to Zhao Yunzhi and Huaniyang respectively. Qinlai was able to get out completely, without having to spend his mind on the underwater cave, and could concentrate on refining pills while protecting the safety of the valley. Meng Yushan and Lin Yuan, with Bai Kailan, Huang Long, Wu Xiangling, and Zhalan, continued to form a powerful team of independent cultivators. These independent cultivators did not resist such an arrangement, and the comfortable and peaceful cultivation life was also what they dreamed of. Time passed in a flash. Soon, Zhao contacted Meng Yushan and agreed to meet in a valley outside Beifang City. Zhou Daocheng did not bring too many people to this meeting, only himself, Meng Yushan, and Lin Yuan. Although the number of people was small, the strength was very strong. Zhou Daocheng himself has reached the peak of the 8th level of Qi refining, and can be on par with the 9th level of Qi refining. Although his lethality is insufficient, he can at least ensure that he will not die. But if he adds the 3 first-level superior formations of Golden Spear and White Vine formation, Purple Air and Green Spirit Sword formation, and Quicksand formation, he can suppress even a powerful person who has reached the 90th level of Qi refining. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 143 Meeting of Loose Cultivators. Meng Yushan and Lin Yuan are both at the 9th level of Qi refining. With the help of the formation, their strength is far beyond that of ordinary 9th level Qi refining cultivators. It is no exaggeration to say that if the 3 of them act together, they can remain invincible even if they are besieged by 5 9th level Qi refining cultivators at the same time. Under the guidance of Meng Yushan and Lin Yuan, the 3 of them successfully arrived at the designated valley. This place is hidden, with rugged rocks in the valley and towering mountains around, but there is no spiritual energy. It is a very ordinary valley. But for casual cultivators, this place is not ordinary. Because many casual cultivators often barter here and exchange the cultivation resources they need. It is a secret trading place among casual cultivators. And here, there is also an unwritten rule, that is, once entering the trading range, it is forbidden to use swords and knives. Otherwise they will be expelled by all flash cultivators and will never be able to enter here. Most casual cultivators will follow this rule. So many times, casual cultivators will choose to gather here, which is also a symbol of friendship. Not long after the three arrived, Zhao came from a distance with a smile. At first glance, he saw Zhou Daocheng standing between the two, and his eyes could not help shrinking slightly. Zhou Daocheng was still wearing a purple robe and a bronze mask. His aura was heavy and long. Zhao could feel his extremely terrifying and powerful strength with just a slight perception. This should be the senior Ray Master, right? I am Zhao. Meet you, Zhao said respectfully. Zhou Daocheng nodded slightly and said in a low voice, "No need to be polite. I came here to build the market. I wonder how you are preparing?" Zhao hurriedly replied, "I have contacted several leaders of the 9th level qi refining cultivators. They are almost all here. Please move over and talk." Zhao did not say much, and took Zhou Daocheng and the other two to a cave in the cliff. The interior was very spacious, inlaid with bright night pearls, and there were already 5 people sitting inside. Their auras were all extremely heavy, and they were all powerful people at the 9th level of qi refining, including Zhao and Zhou Daocheng. There were 9 qi refining level 9 masters present. As the organizer, Zhao naturally took the initiative to introduce the 3 people. When they learned that Zhou Daocheng was a formation master, everyone's eyes changed. They all took a deep look at the man in purple robes and bronze masks, and a hint of fear emerged. At the same time, their attitudes became more respectful. The strength of the formation master itself is not weak, much stronger than the alchemist and the refiner, and the identity of the formation master alone is enough to make everyone put down their posture and make friends. Everyone present, as a senior casual cultivator, naturally knows how much their own strength will be improved if they have a set of formations. Moreover, putting aside personal strength and status, there are 2 other qi refining level 9 masters standing behind this person, and their strength is definitely the strongest among them. Among the crowd, there was an old man, and when he saw Meng Yushan and Lin Yuan behind Zhou Daocheng, his eyes suddenly changed slightly. Meng Yushan and Lin Yuan also noticed the gazes, smiled and walked forward to pay their respects, and said respectfully, "Junior Meng Yushan, Lin Yuan, greets Elder Wei." This scene drew everyone's attention away from Zhou Daocheng, and they looked at the 3 curiously. In theory, the 3 of them were all at the 9th level of qi refining, so how could they be called seniors? After all, in the world of immortal cultivation, the age difference between cultivators is quite large, so the seniority is only determined by strength, and the secular world is not used at all. But when the old man spoke, everyone immediately understood. "Little Meng and Zealan, I didn't expect you to have broken through to the 9th level of qi refining." Meng Yushan smiled and said, "It was just luck." The old man called Wei Lao patted the 2 people's shoulders gently, his face full of emotion, and said, "When you joined my hunting team, you were only 17 or 18 years old, and your strength was only the 5th level of qi refining." Wei Lao, were these 2 people in your hunting team? Yes, you should have seen them back then, but they were relatively weak at that time, so you may not have paid much attention. Later, after reaching the 8th level of qi refining, they left separately. Wei Lao explained, and everyone present completely let down their guard. After all, if it was really as Wei Lao said, then Meng Yushan and Lin Yuan were also innocent people. Zhao also smiled and said, "Since everyone knows each other, I won't introduce them too much, and I hope our subsequent conversation will go smoothly." After hearing this, everyone found a seat and sat down, and officially began to discuss the plan to build a miniature market, which was the focus of today. Zhao said, "You all probably know the situation. Bay market is controlled by various forces. They buy monster materials at low prices and sell cultivation resources at high prices. Under such oppression, we have been unable to make ends meet. This is why we are gathered here." A rough man snorted angrily and echoed, "Fellow Taoist Z is right. They are really too much. A bottle of first-level medium-grade rejuvenation pill actually wants 200 spirit stones from me. Why don't they just drop it?" Indeed, although prices fluctuated before, they were barely within the acceptable range. This time it is really too much. Old Wei also said, "My magic weapon is damaged. and I dare not go to Bay Market to recast it. Now I rely on a first-level medium-grade magic weapon to hunt monsters." Everyone complained and anger appeared on their faces. The burly man said indignantly, "Bay Market is really a small market, which has been messed up by various foundation-building forces. If it were an Laiyuan market, would these beasts dare to do it?" Alas, there is no need to say more. Bay Market is located on the eastern edge and is not taken seriously. It is helpless to have such a situation. Humphrey, so when fellow Taoist Z proposed to build a new market, Yuan immediately agreed to come. The burly man said in a loud and majestic voice, "Fellow Taoist Z, tell me about your plan. If it is really possible to realize it, I, Yuan Zong, will be the first to agree." Seeing everyone looking at him, Zhao took a sip of tea and said calmly, "I have discussed with fellow Taoist Meng before. If we want to build a micro-market, we must first have a strong person to take the lead. We are already in progress. If it goes well, we will be the founders of this micro-market." Everyone nodded slightly. The influence of several of them among the casual cultivators was not low, and they were indeed qualified to be the founders. Zhao continued, "Secondly, we need to find an area suitable for building a market town, and then the formation master will set up the formation to ensure the safety of the market town." The overall plan is actually very simple, even so simple that it only takes 2 steps. However, everyone present was still in deep thought. The old voice of Wei Lao slowly sounded, "Now it seems that the most troublesome formation has been solved. The only thing we need to do is to find an area suitable for building a market town. Yes, as long as these preparations are completed, the subsequent construction of the market town will be much easier." Zhao said. "Everyone, think about it. Is there any area suitable for building a market town in the surrounding area?" Meng Yushan looked at everyone and asked. Chapter 144, Fog Valley. The burly man Yuanzong was the first to break the silence and said, "What do you think of the area southeast of Bay Market, near the river? It has convenient transportation and spacious land, which is absolutely very suitable for building a market." Everyone just thought about it for a while and frowned. "No, it's too close to Bay Market and too conspicuous." Zhao immediately denied it. Yuanzong scratched his head and asked in confusion, "What's wrong with being conspicuous? Shouldn't a market be conspicuous? We will definitely make a lot of money by then." "Old Yuan, use your brain. If we build a market under the nose of Bay Market, do you think those foundation building forces will let us go?" A female casual cultivator said angrily. "Well, there is some truth in that." Zhao also spoke up to remind. Z also needs to remind everyone that the establishment of the market must not be publicized, everything must be done in secret, and the location of the market must be as far away from Bay Market as possible. Everyone slightly, they naturally couldn't be naive enough to think that with a few 9th-level chi refining masters, they could really compete with the foundation building forces. Moreover, the establishment of a micro-market will inevitably affect the interests of Bay Market, so Bay Market must be avoided in the process to ensure that everything goes smoothly. At this time, Meng Yushan suddenly said, "What do you think of the area near the Poison Thorn Mountain Range?" It is located in the northeast of Bay Market, far enough away, and the surrounding resources are not too rich. But after thinking about it, everyone still denied it. The terrain near the Poison Thorn Mountain Range is too complicated, with many swamps and forests, and there are many poisonous insects. The environment is definitely not superior. Moreover, the rich resources mentioned by Meng Yushan are out of the question. Although there are many wild beasts and poisonous insects, the number of spiritual veins is actually very poor. Strictly speaking, the 100 insect poison swamp further east is more dangerous and has a worse environment, but it has a large number of spiritual veins and the environment is far better than the Poison Thorn Mountains. If everyone's strength is not insufficient, the 100 insect poison swamp is definitely a better choice, but everyone is also very clear that if you want to occupy a place in the 100 insect poison swamp, you need at least the strength of the late stage of foundation building, or even the strength of the Purple Mansion. Otherwise, The excellent environment of the 100 insect poison swamp would have been divided up by powerful foundation-building forces long ago, so how could they have a turn? Just 100 insect poison swamp is so dangerous that it is likely to have a third-level monster, not to mention the East Great Wilderness Vein, which is even larger and stretches for tens of millions of miles without seeing the edge. Next, someone else put forward other opinions, but they were not recognized by everyone because of various problems. Until the end, everyone was silent and racked their brains but couldn't think of a suitable place. At this time, the oldest Wei Hanshan suddenly said, "Most of the locations chosen by fellow Taoists are relatively safe places. Have you considered some dangerous areas?" "Old Wei, do you have any opinions?" Wei Hanshan paused and said, "I know a place far away from Bay Market. Not only is the location hidden and suitable for building a micro-market, but the concentration of spiritual energy is not low." Hearing this, everyone's eyes lit up and looked over. "Old Wei, is there really such a place?" But soon someone reacted and asked tentatively, "Old Wei, since there is a spiritual vein, it should not be ownerless, right?" Wei Hanshan nodded and said, "Go east for 7 days, at the edge of the East Great Wilderness Vein, before reaching the area of the 100 insects poison swamp. There is a valley shrouded in thick fog all year round. The concentration of spiritual energy can reach the second level, and all conditions should be able to meet the needs of the micro-market. But the only trouble is that it is shrouded in thick clouds all year round. The internal environment is very complex, and there are 3 first-level top-grade mirage cloud pythons living there. Their strength should not be underestimated, especially in the fog. Their strength is much stronger." "Fog Valley?" someone exclaimed softly, obviously knowing that area and the mysterious valley. "Why, didn't I think of the Fog Valley?" Zhao said with a little surprise. "If you don't consider the 3 mirage cloud pythons, the Fog Valley is indeed very suitable. It is not deep in the East Great Wilderness, and it is not as dangerous as the 100 insects poison swamp. Moreover, there are spiritual veins, and we can rely on the valley to set up formations." Someone immediately agreed, "Yes, and this valley is not well known. Even if we build a market there, it will not attract attention." After listening to everyone's conversation, Zhou Daocheng also got some understanding of the Fog Valley. It is a mysterious thousands of valleys of miles to the east, which is shrouded in thick fog all year round, and there are faint fluctuations of rich spiritual energy. Because the location is in an unexplored area, it is fresh and few people know about it. Only those who have lived in this area for many years have occasionally heard of it. So the concealment is beyond doubt, and the conditions in all aspects are also very superior. The only thing that bothers people is the 3 powerful mirage cloud pythons. Yuan Zong thought about it carefully and nodded solemnly. "I think Elder Wei's suggestion is very good. There should be no more suitable place in this area." "Yes, the distance is suitable and the environment is suitable." Zhao also agreed. Wei Hanshan nodded, looked at everyone and said, "There is no need to worry about the environment in the Fog Valley, but fellow Taoists can consider whether they have the ability to deal with the 3 mirage cloud pythons." As soon as these words came out, everyone's face showed a trace of caution. However, a monster at the peak of the 1st level is stronger than a strong person at the 9th level of chi refining. In a one-on-one situation with everyone present, it is almost definitely not the case. Mirage Python's opponent. It's even possible that 3 versus 1 can barely lead to a tie. Just like when the iron-backed beast was besieged and killed, the family leader brought 3 9th-level chi refining experts, restrained by formations, and finally with the assistance of the 2nd-level spiritual magic weapon, he was able to defeat the iron-backed beast both mentally and physically. Brutal bear. Among them, the effect of the 2nd-level magic weapon soul-suppressing bell reaches at least 60%. It can be seen that at the same level, the strength of monster beasts far exceeds that of human monks. At this time, a middle-aged man with a thin face and sharp eyes suddenly said, "If you really want to take action, you can arrange for 2 fellow Taoists to assist me. I can definitely kill a mirage python." Ryanagi Road's friendly spirit. Fellow Taoist Liu is at the peak of the 9th level of chi refining. and is famous for his use of poison. With the cooperation of the other two fellow Taoists, it is indeed possible to kill Yitao too. Zhou Daocheng also looked at this person in surprise. He had the guts to take over a top-grade first-order monster, so his strength must be strong. And he could clearly feel that the strength of this casual cultivator named Liu was very good, second only to the old man Wei Hanshan among the people. Chapter 145. Heading to Fog Valley. Among the casual cultivators in this battle, most of them were in the early and middle stages of the 9th level of qi refining. Only Wei Hanshan, the cultivator surnamed Liu, and Zhao were relatively strong, all of whom had reached the late stage and were very strong. The casual cultivator surnamed Liu spoke, which immediately brought hope to everyone. After thinking for a while, Zhou Daocheng also lowered his voice and said, 3 mirage cloud pythons, you can count me as one. Hearing this, everyone's faces showed joy again. If the cultivator surnamed Liu spoke, it meant that the plan might succeed. Then now that Zhou Daocheng took the second mirage cloud python alone, it meant that the operation had been more than half successful. Because among the remaining few people, Zhao and Wei Hanshan were both strong, and they had been in the business for many years, so they had more or less some tricks up their sleeves, so it was not difficult to get rid of a mirage cloud python. This is indeed the case. Zhao and Wei Hanshan looked at each other, nodded to each other, and said, in this case, the last mirage cloud python will be handed over to me and Elder Wei. After the preliminary arrangements were made, the rough man Yuanzong said impatiently, since everything has been agreed upon, when will you take action? As soon as possible. We are at least 10 days away from the Fog Valley. If you have no objection to this plan, then we'd better set off immediately. Wei Hanshan said lightly. Everyone looked at each other and nodded. Everyone present was a casual cultivator, and apart from their own casual cultivator teams, they had almost no worries. So as long as the decision was made, they could act immediately. Seeing that everyone had no objection, Zhao said, then give everyone 2 hours to settle their teams. 2 hours later, we will set off directly to the Fog Valley. In just a few words, the next itinerary was determined, which made Zhou Daocheng sigh greatly. If this kind of thing were placed in the family, it would take at least 10 days and a half a month to discuss, and then prepare for half a year before it could be implemented. But for casual cultivators, there are not so many complicated procedures. They decided on the spot and set off immediately. However, Zhou Daocheng was happy with this. Such high efficiency is the rhythm of doing big things. After waiting for 2 hours, the 9 people gathered together again and set off directly to the Fog Valley. Because the Fog Valley is infinitely close to the East Great Wilderness Vein, although it is not as dangerous as the 100 Insects Poison Swamp, it should not be underestimated. So the 9 people all went lightly without any other casual cultivators. The sudden attack of monsters, various unknown dangerous places, harsh environment and intricate routes are all difficulties that everyone needs to deal with. Just 2 days after leaving, they were attacked by a 2-headed black snake. A casual cultivator of the 9th level of qi refining was injured, but fortunately, everyone was strong and they joined forces to kill the snake directly without any danger. On the 6th day, they mistakenly entered the spiritual land of a yellow spirit bee. This kind of spiritual insect that wins by numbers and groups is as threatening as the spirit-devouring ants. Fortunately, this group of yellow bees was only of the first grade upper grade. Zhou Daocheng used the formation to protect everyone and directly broke through the territory of the yellow bees. Therefore, everyone also witnessed the dominance of the formation. Even if thousands of yellow bees swarmed in, Zhou Daocheng was still able to protect everyone with the formation. The next journey, the closer to the Fog Valley, the more dangerous the environment became. The strength of the surrounding monsters has been greatly improved, enough to pose a threat to everyone. In the next few days, almost every day, we can encounter first-grade upper-grade monsters, each of which is very powerful, but everyone is not weak, so we are always safe. It's just that the time spent on the road in the end was a full 10 days longer than the originally scheduled time. After 20 days, everyone saw the valley shrouded in fog. At this time, everyone was already ragged and tired, like a group of savages running out of the mountains. Meng Yushan showed a happy expression and said excitedly, "We are here, we have finally reached the fog valley." Damn it, it took us 20 days to walk this short distance. It was really a pain. Yuanzong wiped his sweaty face and sat on the ground with a sense of relief. Although they were tired, they were happy to see that they were in the fog valley. Moreover, the spiritual energy here was more abundant, enough for everyone to recover their consumed physical strength. After all, they had been passing through barren mountains all the way, and the spiritual energy was always in a state of scarcity, but now, they could clearly feel that the fog valley was filled with rich spiritual energy. Wei Hanshan said calmly, "Everyone, we have arrived. Let's take a rest and prepare to act directly." "Old Wei, are you in such a hurry? How about I rest for a day or two before taking action?" Yuanzong asked, panting. The female monk kicked him and said coldly, "If you are willing to stay in this ghost environment for 2 more days, then you can stay by yourself. I won't serve you." On the side, Zhao did not participate in the conversation, but looked at Zhou Daocheng behind him and asked, "Senior, do you think this environment is suitable for setting up formations?" Zhou Daocheng did not reply, but carefully looked at the valley in front of him and the complex terrain around the valley. Looking over, there are a large number of complex peaks around the fog valley, and thick fog is lingering and flowing in it, and the waves are so strange that people can't see clearly. Zhou Daocheng frowned, and his thoughts were lost for a while. He actually felt a mysterious rhythm in the flow of clouds and mist. He vaguely felt that the arrangement of the mountains around the fog valley seemed natural, but in fact it had a different charm, and it vaguely conformed to the layout of the array. The flowing fog seemed to flow randomly, but it could vaguely see a trace of regularity, but it was impossible to figure it out thoroughly. For a moment, Zhou Daocheng was stunned and stared at the fog valley in front of him. "Senor? Senor?" until Zhao shouted several times in a row. Zhou Daocheng woke up from his trance. "Senior, you have been staring at the fog valley. Have you discovered anything?" Zhao asked. Zhou Daocheng did not answer directly, but took a deep look at the fog valley. After thinking for a while, he said, "There are some problems here, but I can't be sure. I need to check the terrain of the fog valley from a high place." "Is there really a problem?" Zhao looked at the fog valley in surprise, his eyes full of surprise. At least from his point of view, he did not see anything abnormal. Hearing this, the others also showed a vigilant look. Wei Hanshan came over, took a cautious look at the fog valley, and said, "Since the senior feels that there is something unusual, we must investigate it carefully." Although they are not array masters, and have not even come into contact with arrays, they know very well that array masters are sensitive to the terrain of mountains and rivers, which is definitely not comparable to them. Zhou Daocheng did not say much, but took everyone to a nearby high mountain to check the situation of the fog valley from a high place. Climbing to the top, the entire fog valley is in full view. The surrounding hills are all surrounded by thick fog, but Zhou Daocheng did not feel the ethereal feeling of flying in the clouds, but a little heavy. Zhou Daocheng keenly discovered that although the fog looked very thin, in fact, in perception, the fog was much thicker than imagined. Chapter 146 Natural Formation. It is even denser than the artificially gathered fog in the cloud and fog array. This also aroused Zhou Daocheng's curiosity. What kind of terrain can condense so much fog? What is King Cheng's special environment? And when he carefully looked at the surrounding terrain, he vaguely noticed something unusual. The terrain and mountains here seem to be natural, but in fact they have a mysterious arrangement, like complex formation lines, which are vaguely connected together. The more carefully he observed it, the more Zhou Daocheng realized there was something unusual about it. The mountains with a radius of dozens of miles gradually formed a pattern of formations in his eyes. The mist and spiritual energy circulated in it, and they actually moved according to certain rules. This is a natural formation? When Zhou Daocheng eliminated all other possibilities, he finally got an answer in his heart. Natural formation. But even he himself was extremely shocked by this answer. He stared blankly at the scene in front of him, barely able to suppress the excitement in his heart. In the inheritance of formations, Natural formations were briefly mentioned. All things in the world are unpredictable. Under the power of natural trends, special terrains may naturally develop, thus forming natural formations. When the art of formations was first created, it was the talented monks who learned from these natural formations, improved and created them, and this led to the inheritance of formations today. Natural formations have always been extremely mysterious, extremely rare, and extremely powerful among formations. The art of formation pays attention to momentum. And the natural formation formed by the general trend of heaven and earth has a power that is definitely not comparable to that of ordinary formations. The one in front of me is a natural fog formation. What shocked him even more was that the quality of this set of natural mist formations actually reached the second level of high quality. Such a terrifying formation cannot be seen through even by strong foundation builders, and they may even be trapped in it, completely lost in the layers of clouds and mist. As if aware of Zhou Daocheng's shock, Zhao asked cautiously, "Senior, how is the situation?" Zhou Daocheng did not hide anything and told the general information he saw. For a moment, everyone was silent, staring blankly at the fog-shrouded valley in front of them. They themselves never thought that a natural second-level high-grade formation existed in a random valley. Although they don't understand what the natural formation means, they can still understand the word second-order high-grade formation. The second-level high-grade formation means that even a peak foundation building expert will most likely be trapped by the formation. No matter how confident they were in Zhou Daocheng, they still felt a little worried at this moment. No matter how high the formation talent is, there is a high probability that it will not reach the second-level high grade. If such a being really existed, why would he build a market with them? He would have already joined the King Shan sect and was treated as a guest. However, someone soon noticed something unusual. Yuan Zong wondered, "No, if this is a second-level high-grade formation, how does the Mirage Cloud Python live in it?" Hearing this, Zhou Daocheng said calmly, "The natural formation is completely formed by the natural terrain, so it cannot be as perfect as the man-made formation. As long as you find weak terrain, it is possible to enter it. Moreover, the natural formation is not controlled by the formation master, so it is not very changeable. Those three Mirage Cloud Pythons should have found a secret entrance, so they can live in it." The others nodded thoughtfully. Wei Hanshan asked in a deep voice, "Senior, can you break this formation?" "It's hard to break, but if you just get in, it shouldn't be a problem." "Then, please ask Senior to take action." "It doesn't matter," Zhou Daocheng answered calmly, and then his eyes were completely immersed in this natural mist formation. But it is simple to say, but it is still very difficult to implement. Even if there are few changes in the formation, this is still a second-level formation. Just looking at the surrounding terrain and topography made Zhou Daocheng dizzy. He is only a first-level high-level formation mage, but the extremely mysterious natural formation in front of him has reached a second-level high-level formation, which is too difficult for him. Only through a lot of elimination and screening can we find a road that can reach the end among millions of roads. Zhou Daocheng stood on the top of the mountain and observed it for 2 days. It wasn't until his eyes were filled with bloodshot eyes that he finally saw a hill in a corner and his eyes suddenly lit up. "Found it." Zhou Daocheng's voice was cold, with a hint of joy. However, at the moment when everyone should be cheering, no one responded to him. Zhou Daocheng turned around curiously and saw the black line behind him. I saw a group of people scattered around, lying casually on the ground behind them, already sleeping so loudly that they were snoring loudly. Even Wei Hanshan, a serious old man, was resting against a stone. What's more, Yuan Zong went too far and hugged the only female casual cultivator. He was so sleepy that his mouth was almost drooling, and Zhou Daocheng's mouth twitched. "I am working hard here to decipher the second-order formation, but you are sleeping in the back?" Without any hesitation, Zhou Daocheng stepped forward and kicked him. Kick everyone awake directly from their sleep. Wei Hanshan didn't change his expression when he woke up, dusted off his clothes, and stood up calmly. Meng Yushan and Lin Principal yawned, but hurriedly got up. Yuan Chong fell into a deep sleep and was woken up by being beaten and kicked by a female monk. When he got up wiping his saliva, He was still in a daze. Even the cold monk named Liu coughed a few times in embarrassment. However, I can't blame everyone for this. After traveling for more than 20 days, I barely had much rest, and I was already exhausted. Moreover, after all, everyone is just a 9th level chi refining monk, not an immortal, or even a stronger mortal. Eating and sleeping are essential. Ahem. Did the senior formation find the intersection? Zhao smiled awkwardly and asked. Zhou Daocheng's expression under the bronze mask was quite helpless. He sighed and said, "It barely succeeded." In this formation, most of the important formation cores are formed by huge mountains as the core. The potential is extremely powerful, but there is only one place, which is obviously a very critical point in the formation, but there is only one hill. As a result, the power of this area is relatively weak. We should be able to enter with our strength. After everyone heard this, they also looked in the direction of Zhou Daocheng's finger, and they saw a small hill that was not very high and looked very inconspicuous. It can be clearly seen that the fog is much weaker at the edge of this hill, but it is difficult to notice if you don't look carefully. Zhou Daocheng couldn't help but sigh that such a powerful natural formation could have such a big loophole, and he was stunned that he, a first-class formation master, had found a way to enter it. Perhaps, this is also a shortcoming of the natural formation, which will become less perfect for some reasons. If an array master makes slight changes to increase the strength of this weak point, the strength of the entire array may be taken to a higher level. What should we do now? Go directly into the Foggy Valley and get rid of those 3 mirage pythons? Zhao asked. Chapter 147 The Market for Cave Formations. Zhou Daocheng shook his head and said coldly, "Let's take a rest first, and those who need to sleep can continue to sleep." Hearing this, everyone smiled awkwardly. After this episode, the relationship between them was closer. Next, they did not start the action directly, but opened a cave in the mountain and took a short rest. At this time, Zhou Daocheng made another move that made everyone's eyes widen. He took out a set of array plates, which was the thick earth spirit array used for cultivation. Because the material used was spiritual fertile soil, the texture was soft and easy to shape. In order to make the array more beautiful, Zhou Daocheng made a simple change to the array pattern. Therefore, when the array was deployed, a set of soil-formed houses was directly formed, which looked small and exquisite. The house formed by the thick earth spirit array not only has good defense, but also has rich spiritual energy inside, which can quickly restore physical strength and spiritual energy. This scene made other casual cultivators swallow their saliva, and their eyes were wide open, and they were unwilling to move away for a long time. Yuanzong scratched his head and said, "Their formation masters are too precious, and how can the formation be used like this? Damn, people are so annoying. Why can we casual cultivators only sleep on the grass and dig into bare caves?" Wei Han Shan almost burst into tears. He has been a casual cultivator all his life, either sleeping on trees or digging in caves, and has become accustomed to the cold, damp, and smelly environment. Whenever he rests in the wild, he has to turn a blind eye and live like a wild man. But until today, he was shocked to know that someone could actually bring a cave with him when he went out! This made him suddenly feel that his decades of casual cultivation life were simply lived in vain. Zhao coughed twice and said, "Then don't look at it. When the senior wakes up, let's ask if we can buy a set." "Yes, it's better to buy 2 more sets and live in different caves," Yuanzong said seriously. The female cultivator glanced at him and said, "This should be a first-class high-quality formation. Can you afford it?" Yuanzong scratched his head. "I don't have any spirit stones, but if the senior doesn't mind, I am willing to serve him like a cow and a horse." In response, the cultivator surnamed Liu glanced at him with disdain and said coldly, "There is a young girl in Liu's team. She used to be a girl from a small family. She is fair-skinned and beautiful. She should be able to exchange a set of formations with the senior." "Liu Chengzu, you are too insidious, aren't you?" "Humphrey, please watch your words," the cultivator surnamed Liu said coldly. Sour, seeing that Yuanzong was still chattering, Zhao hurriedly stopped him and said, "Enough, shut up, don't disturb the senior's rest." Hearing this, Everyone also quieted down. They still wanted to buy formations from Zhou Daocheng, so they naturally wanted to please him. After a brief rest, everyone gathered together to discuss the next move after their spirits and spiritual energy were restored. 2 days later. In the thick earth spiritual array, a group of 9 people sat together. Several casual cultivators looked around curiously. The house was completely made of soil, solid and thick, and there was spiritual energy inside. What shocked them even more was that there were various facilities inside the house, including beds, tables, chairs, etc., all made of mud. This was simply a life they dared not even think about. As expected, after Zhao and others came in, they were the first to ask about the situation of this formation. "Senior, I wonder if you sell this formation? Can you sell us 1 or 2 sets?" Zhou Daocheng raised his eyebrows. He didn't expect that the ordinary thick earth array would be so popular, but after thinking about it, he understood the reason. The formation itself has alertness and defense, which can greatly improve safety. What's more, carrying such a formation is almost like carrying a cave with you. You can rest anytime and anywhere, and even fight with the formation. It is really multi-purpose. The function of this formation is perfectly in line with the survival of casual cultivators, especially compared with their current survival situation. It is like heaven and earth, so they are so eager. However, the thick earth spiritual formation is of high quality and very expensive. For most casual cultivators, it is simply unaffordable. After thinking for a while, Zhou Daocheng said, "My set is a first-level superior defense formation, which should be able to sell for more than 1,000 spirit stones in the market." 1,000 spirit stones? Several casual cultivators at the 9th level of chi refining were secretly shocked. This price was indeed difficult for them to bear. However, Zhou Daocheng's next words once again gave everyone hope. "However, after the micro-market is established, I can try to refine similar first-level mid to low-grade formations. If you need them, you can buy them from me." "Senior, can you really do it?" Zhao was very surprised. Others also showed joy on their faces, secretly thinking that this action was right. Even if they failed to successfully establish the micro-market, they could make friends with a formation master, which would definitely be a sure win. Yuanzong stood up excitedly and patted his chest and said, "Senior, if you can really sell our formations, then I, Yuanzong, will be yours in the end. The same goes for me, Wang Qin. Liu Chengzu is also willing to make friends with you. I hope you don't despise me." Zhou Daocheng waved his hand, and his face remained calm. However, it was a pleasant surprise to receive the goodwill of a group of chi refining level 9 casual cultivators, which might make the future easier. As for the formation, it was easy to solve. Although the thick earth formation was a first-grade upper-grade formation, there were also first-grade lower-grade and middle-grade formations of the same type, such as the earth defense formation and the earth wall formation. Moreover, Zhou Daocheng also had first-grade, middle-grade and lower-grade spiritual fertile soil, so it was not impossible to make a similar cave-type formation. "I appreciate your kindness, but the most important thing now is to build a miniature market, and we can talk about other things later," Zhou Daocheng said calmly. "Yes, the environment of the Fog Valley is excellent, and there are natural formations to protect it. Our plan may really be possible." Zhao nodded. "Then let's act now and solve the 3-headed mirage python according to the original plan," the cultivator surnamed Liu suggested. Originally, because they were not familiar with the environment of the Fog Valley, still had concerns and doubts in their hearts. But now, it is everyone confirmed that there is not only a spiritual vein here, but also a huge second-level superior formation. The superiority of the natural environment is almost full, so everyone's confidence has also been greatly improved. But at this time, Zhou Daocheng drank a sip of tea and signaled that everyone should not be anxious. "What's wrong, Senior? Do you have other ideas?" Zhou Daocheng nodded and said, "Maybe we don't need to proceed according to the original plan." Chapter 148 Entering the Fog Valley. "Why?" Zhou Daocheng showed a meaningful smile and said, "Don't forget, everyone, this is an ownerless formation, and the one below ... is a formation master." As soon as the words fell, The scene was so silent that you could hear a silver needle drop to the ground. Yuanzong swallowed. A touch of excitement appeared in the depths of his eyes, and he asked tentatively, then, "Does this senior mean that he can control a set of formations?" Zhou Daocheng looked around, looked into everyone's eyes, and said lightly, "It's barely okay. This is a set of maze formations, and you only need to slightly adjust the changes in it to change the original route, thereby changing the three-headed mirage cloud python, spread out. Can you really control this natural formation?" Elder Wei, who was well informed, couldn't help but exclaimed in surprise. Zhao also smiled bitterly and sighed, "I thought that senior could be lucky enough to find a way to enter the formation. I didn't expect that I could control the formation to a certain extent. The method is really amazing." Zhou Daocheng smiled and waved his hand. For other first-level high-level formation mages, it is indeed difficult to control the second-level formation. However, the knowledge he gained from the fusion formation through his epiphany focused most on the changes and manipulation of the formations, so he had a unique advantage in these two aspects. Without paying too much attention to the compliments from everyone, Zhou Daocheng made arrangements casually. At that time, we don't need to disperse our actions. We just need to surround and kill a mirage python together. Both the safety and the success rate should be greatly improved. From 3 people besieging a mirage python to 9 people besieging a mirage python, everyone was suddenly in a trance. The difficulty has been reduced by more than 10 times! After setting up the plan, Zhou Daocheng led everyone directly into the foggy valley through the weak point of the formation. After entering it, everything in front of you seems normal, but it is strange and unpredictable, giving you a great sense of uneasiness. The mist in it seems to be light and floating, no different from ordinary clouds. However, after only walking a few meters, when I looked back, the path I came from had completely disappeared into the mist, as if everything was constantly changing. At this moment, caution appeared on everyone's face. No matter how confident they are in Zhou Daocheng's ability, everyone's rationality keeps reminding themselves that this is a second-level high-grade formation. A top-notch natural maze that can trap a peak foundation building expert to death. Once completely trapped in it, it is likely that he will not be able to get out for the rest of his life and will remain here completely. Zhou Daocheng's expression was also very serious. Although he had memorized the entire pattern of the natural mist formation in his heart, when he actually entered it, he still felt the shocking momentum. However, it is not without any benefits. Walking into a second-level high-grade natural maze in person, walking along the lines of the maze, and gaining an in-depth understanding of the changes and trends in the maze was a huge improvement for Zhou Daocheng. Even Zhou Daocheng's inherent concepts changed at this time. Once upon a time, he more or less believed that attack, defense, and control formations had absolutely higher priority and showed better effects. On the contrary, he scorned the maze array, except for setting up a set of first-level low-grade mist array when he first came into contact with the formation. He never learned the maze array again. However, only when he truly saw this mysterious and terrifying natural maze did he understand the essence of the maze. The hidden dangers and murderous intentions are no weaker than the killing array. Once you fall into it, it will be even more desperate. Taking this opportunity, Zhou Daocheng can also clearly feel that his understanding of the maze is constantly improving. If one can fully understand this set of natural formations, then in the future, whether it is controlling this set of second-level high-grade natural formations or setting up similar formations of one's own, there will be great progress. As everyone moved forward, they carefully looked around. When Zhou Daocheng glanced at something on the side of the road, his eyes suddenly lit up and he hurried forward. This is a snake's slough. It fell next to the gravel. Although it was badly damaged and only a small part, the hugeness of the mirage cloud python could still be seen. Each scale is larger than the size of an adult's hand. Even though it is close to corruption, it still exudes a fierce monster aura. Zhao's face showed joy and he said, "This is the slough of the mirage cloud python. It seems that we have found the right place." Wei Hanshan looked solemn as he took the slough of the mirage cloud python and sighed with a hint of horror. "Looking at this size, I'm afraid it's close to a second-order monster." Everyone continued to move forward and picked up other snake sloughs one after another. Some were relatively fresh, and some were withered and corrupted, but there was no doubt that they were all extremely large in size. When they reached a sufficient distance, a complete snake slough suddenly appeared in front of them, like a lifelike python, suddenly straddling in front of everyone, and their hearts stopped for a few seconds in fear. Knowing that no one noticed the breath of life, and seeing that it was just a snake shedding, they breathed a sigh of relief. This snake's slough was extremely fresh and tough. It should have shed its slough recently. It was 7 feet long and extremely large. Zhou Daocheng said seriously, "Everyone, be careful. This place is close to the mirage python's nest. If you are not careful, you will be discovered." As soon as he finished speaking, a low roar came from the distance. The sound was extremely penetrating, with a soul-shaking momentum, and the fog in the entire valley flowed freely with the roar. For a moment, everyone's heart seemed to be strangled, and their breathing could not help but stop for a few seconds. "Be careful, the sound is very close, it should be nearby." Wei Han Shan lowered his voice to remind them, holding the magic weapon in his hand, ready to attack at any time. Zhou Daocheng did not dare to be careless, and immediately controlled the surrounding array patterns to cover everyone with mist to avoid being exposed to the perception of the mirage python. This kind of snake monster is often extremely sensitive, and the whereabouts may be exposed if you are not careful. Zhou Daocheng led everyone, using the cover of the mist to search in the direction where the sound came from. After walking for almost a few hundred steps, the narrow canyon suddenly became open, and a spacious canyon suddenly appeared in front of them, accompanied by the ferocious and savage breath of the monster. A huge gloomy cave appeared on the cliff of the valley in front. At the same time, a thick pale white snake tail swept the ground at will, rolling up a lot of dust and gravel, leaving a lot of traces of friction on the ground. The people shrouded in the mist couldn't help but breathe a little heavier, for fear of disturbing this powerful monster. Yuanzong lowered his voice and asked, "Senior, why is there only one mirage cloud python? Where are the other two?" Zhou Daocheng looked calm and said lightly, "It should be somewhere else. There is more than one valley here." "What?" Yuanzong was surprised. "There is more than one valley here?" Chapter 149, Besieging the Mirage Python. Zhou Daocheng glanced at him and said coldly, "Who told you to sleep?" "When we were on the top of the mountain just now, we could see clearly that this place is formed by a large number of peaks, but the outer peaks are too crowded, so there are steep mountain roads and canyons, and it is difficult to form a spacious valley. But, in the center, there are 3 very spacious valleys. The 3 mirage cloud pythons should occupy one each, not stay together." After listening, Yuanzong also nodded and said, "Since the 3 mirage cloud pythons are separated in 3 valleys, they must be quite far apart from each other, and support must be more troublesome. Yes, in this way, our plan will be easier to implement." Zhao was also surprised. Zhou Daocheng observed quietly and said, "We still need to make some preparations. I will control the formation as much as possible to separate the 3 valleys. Everyone must go all out to kill this mirage cloud python in the shortest time possible." "No problem, Senior. Just control the formation, and leave the task of surrounding and killing the mirage cloud python to us." "Yes, 3 against 1 may not be able to win, but 8 against 1 will definitely be no problem." Zhou Daocheng nodded, feeling relieved. If 9 people were chased and beaten by a mirage cloud python, there would be no need to implement the plan, and they could just turn around and go home. Pinching the magic formula in his hand, Zhou Daocheng to adjust the formation, the clouds began and mist broke away from the original trajectory and began to condense in the middle of different valleys, completely isolating them. The roads around the valleys changed slightly after Zhou Daocheng's adjustment. If the 2 mirage cloud pythons continued along the original path, they would be completely trapped in the formation. After doing all this, Zhou Daocheng looked at everyone and said in a low voice, "Attack." The 8 Qi refining level 9 cultivators looked at each other, then took a step forward without hesitation and took out the magic weapons in their hands. Zhao took the lead and pinched the magic formula in his hand. Suddenly, a burst of ice cones appeared in the air, filled with icy breath, and continuously hit the tail of the mirage python. The sharp ice cones pierced into the snake's body, leaving large pieces of frost on the hard scales, and pierced into the bone marrow. This is a first-level top-grade spell, and it is also an extremely powerful ice attribute. Zhou Daocheng couldn't help but look at it with admiration. He didn't expect that among the casual cultivators, there were actually strong people with different attributes. Before he could think too much, there was a roar full of anger, which instantly exploded in the entire valley, shocking everyone to take a step back. The mirage python swung its tail in anger, and its thick snake body collided with the cliff next to the cave, causing dust to fly and rocks to fly. "Keep attacking, don't stop." Zhao continued to release ice cones and shouted coldly. The others did not dare to be careless and followed closely. Yuanzong held a heavy axe, and a dark stream of light emerged. He chopped down with terrible power in an instant, leaving a deep mark on the mirage python, but this also aroused the anger of the mirage python again. There was a loud bang. The swift and whip-like snake tail instantly whipped Yuanzong away, and directly hit the cliff behind him, sinking deeply into the rock. When Zhou Daocheng looked back, there was only a blood mist in the air and a lifelike human outline on the cliff. He didn't care about Yuanzong's life or death. After all, it would take a lot of time to dig him out of the stone. Everyone hesitated for only a second, and immediately stepped forward to besiege. The female monk was wandering around the battlefield. Her magic weapon was a long chain with a pair of eerie bone claws at the end of the chain. Her attack was sinister and vicious, and she kept grabbing the snake's body. Liu Chengzu was a master of poison. Dozens of poison needles were stabbed out one after another, and they penetrated the body from the abdomen where the scales were relatively weak. Although the mirage cloud python did not change for the time being, everyone knew that Liu Chengzu's poison was definitely not that simple. Wei Lao's spear opened and closed, and his technique was extremely exquisite. Meng Yushan's bone-cutting knife and Lin Yuan's gust of wind spear were equally good. Everyone had the same idea, and they beat the mirage cloud python seriously before it could fully react. Feeling the strong crisis, the mirage cloud python kept whipping with its tail, and after bearing the fierce attack, it struggled to expand the cave entrance. When the space was large enough, it quickly got out of the cave. A huge creature with a silver-white body, scales with white patterns on its body, and a body size of more than 7 feet suddenly appeared in the valley, and its ferocious edge rushed towards them. The cold snake pupils glowed with dangerous light, and it roared at everyone, directly shouting everyone back a step. After the mirage cloud python got rid of the constraints of the cave, it swept through the nearby people at a speed as fast as lightning. Wei Hanshan, Meng Yushan, and Lin Yuan were the first to bear the brunt of the attack by the snake body, and a strong sense of crisis instantly filled their bodies. At the critical moment, Lin Yuan gritted his teeth fiercely, and the golden spear 100 vine formation in his hand quickly spread out, and hundreds of thick thorn vines drilled out of the ground and swept towards the mirage cloud python. Although the thorn vines were far less thick than the mirage cloud python, they were not weaker in strength. They wrapped around the whole body in a short time and controlled it. During the stagnation of the mirage cloud python, it also gave the people around it a chance to breathe and leave the danger area immediately. What a terrifying formation! Wei Hanshan dodged while looking at the hundreds of thorny vines in front of him in shock. Even if his strength reached the peak of the 9th level of Qi refining, it would be difficult to completely block such a dense and terrifying attack. The others also showed surprise on their faces, although they knew that Meng Yushan and Lin Yuan followed the formation master and were likely to have a formation. But when he saw the power of the formation, he still felt daunted. This was already beyond the strength of an ordinary 9th level Qi refining. Seeing that everyone was staring at the formation in a daze, Lin Yuan helplessly cursed, "Why are you staring at it? Get rid of this beast." "Okay, let me do it." Yuanzong had already climbed out of the stone and joined the battlefield again with his strong physique. Then when he approached, Wei Hanshan hurriedly shouted, "Be careful, start long-range consumption first." However, as soon as the voice fell, the mirage cloud python exhausted all its strength and broke free from the restraint of the golden spear 100 vine formation, and its sturdy and agile body burst out with terrifying power. At this moment, the twisting snake body whipped out again, directly whipping Yuanzong out again. Oh, shit. In the same position, deeper depth, Yuanzong embedded himself in the stone without hesitation, and his breath was a little weak. Zhou Daocheng couldn't help twitching at the corner of his mouth. Is this guy just lazy? He made no contribution from beginning to end, and his life was almost gone. However, although Yuanzong was hit hard one after another, he still fought with all his strength. Zhou Daocheng still admired his selflessness. However, among the few people, there was one person who made Zhou Daocheng frown. Chapter 150 Expelling Wang Qin. The casual cultivator named Wang Qin, holding a shield magic weapon, was always outside the battlefield, neither attacking nor assisting in defense. And just now, he had the opportunity to help Yuanzong block the attack, but he was indifferent and watched him being blown away. This scene made Zhou Daocheng snort coldly, fishing in troubled waters under his nose, and wanting to get something for nothing. That's just dreaming. Zhou Daocheng secretly remembered this person in his heart and planned to settle accounts after the battle. The battle in the field continued. While Yuanzong was being blown away, Meng Yushan had already set up the formation. The quicksand formation based on control immediately sucked the mirage cloud python the moment it landed. Immediately afterwards, the quicksand technique covered the formation again. The already powerful control effect was further enhanced by 3 points, and with the unstoppable quicksand swallowing effect, the mirage cloud python was sucked to the ground. The huge body sank uncontrollably, and the mirage cloud python showed unimaginable willfulness, twisting strongly and pushing away the quicksand, trying to climb out of the whirlpool. The growing force made even Meng Yushan, who was controlling the formation, feel extremely exhausted, as if he would be freed in the next moment. Everyone, don't hold back, and deal with it as soon as possible, otherwise it will break through the formation, and it will only be more troublesome next time. Zhou Daocheng said coldly. As a bystander, he saw it most clearly. Except for a few people, no one else showed their true strength, especially Wang Qin, who was always on the sidelines. After hearing Zhou Daocheng's words, the female cultivator no longer held back, and the offensive instantly became a little fiercer. The cultivator surnamed Liu also gave up the means of long-range attack, quickly moved forward, and the poison needle in his hand quickly shot into the eyeball of the mirage cloud python at an extremely tricky angle. Suddenly, a shrill wail resounded through the sky. At the same time, roars began to respond in the other two valleys. Obviously, the other two mirage cloud pythons had discovered the abnormality here. Unfortunately, it was too late. The golden spear 100 vine formation and the quicksand formation cooperated with each other to fully maximize the control effect. At the same time, the poison of the monk surnamed Liu also began to take effect. The mirage cloud python, whose body was tied up, twisted less and less, and its body gradually became stiff. Its eyes, which were full of anger, became drowsy at this moment. Even though it was extremely resentful in its heart, the blood brought endless bloodthirsty thoughts, and it tried to resist before death. However, its body was no longer under its control and was slowly swallowed by the quicksand. Finally, Elder Wei gave the last blow, and the long spear pierced the head of the mirage cloud python, ending its tenacious life. Looking at the huge body of the python, everyone breathed a sigh of relief, and at the same time, joy appeared in their eyes. A complete body of a demon beast with strength reaching the peak of the first grade upper grade, the value represented by it, everyone understood very well. Snake bones, snake scales, snake meat, snake blood, snake gallbladder, are all extremely precious materials of monsters. Whether it is for refining magic tools or cooking meals, they are all very good choices. Everyone, how do you plan to deal with the body of the mirage python? The monk surnamed Liu pulled out the poison needle from the snake and asked calmly. After thinking for a while, Zhao said, since everyone is acting together, why not distribute it equally? I'm afraid it's not appropriate to distribute it equally. As soon as the voice fell, It was opposed by others. The person who spoke was Zhou Daocheng. Zhao was a little surprised, and at the same time, he was a little alert in his heart. Although this formation master has always had a good temper, it is inevitable that he will be greedy when facing the final harvest. This also made him worry and asked, "Does the senior have any other opinions?" Zhou Daocheng did not answer, but cast his eyes on the most inconspicuous person among the crowd, Wang Qin. There were 9 people present, except for the 3 of himself. The other 6 were Zhao, Wei Hanshan, Yuanzong, Liu Chengzu, a female monk, and Wang Qin. Zhou Daocheng's cold and calm voice rang through the bronze mask. As an outsider, I controlled the formation and did not participate in the battle, so I saw the situation more clearly. From beginning to end, this fellow Taoist Wang Qin did not participate in the battle, and was always wandering around the battlefield, until the end, when the mirage cloud python was no longer able to struggle. He stepped forward and stabbed it twice. After the voice fell, Zhou Daocheng looked around and said, "I think if it is distributed equally, it may be unfair to others." Hearing this, Wang Qin's face immediately became ugly, and he said, "What do you mean, Signor? Do you want to bully me, Wang Qin, with your own identity?" "Bully? Since we are cooperating to hunt the mirage cloud python, everyone should contribute, instead of wandering around the battlefield with shields." Zhou Daocheng snorted coldly, with no intention of giving in. "If nothing unexpected happens, the 9 people present will be the founders of this miniature market in the future, and he will never allow anyone to be sneaky among them." Hearing this, Wei Hanshan and others also thought secretly, and found that this person did not participate in the battle, and their faces could not help but become gloomy. "In the battle, we are not afraid of teammates like Yuanzong. At least no matter how dedicated they are, at least they will fight with all their strength, which makes people feel at ease. But if they hide behind and secretly hold back to accumulate strength, that will make everyone feel uneasy." Wei Hanshan glanced at Wang Qin and said, "What the senior said is true. Since you did not participate in the hunting of this mirage cloud python, there is no need to participate in the distribution." Wang Qin's eyes showed a gloomy look. "My attacking magic weapon is damaged, and only a first-grade superior shield is left. Do you want Wang to fight the mirage cloud python with his fists? If you don't have the ability to attack and kill, then help with defense." The monk surnamed Liu was not misled by his fallacy and responded coldly, "I can't even dodge the mirage python's attack. Do you want me to take the initiative to resist it? Do you really think that I, Wang, have a bad mind?" Hearing this, Zhao couldn't help but frown. The attacking magic weapon was broken and he couldn't attack? The opponent is too strong but dare not defend? This is really unreasonable. In this case, I won't make it difficult for you, where you came from and where you are going back," Zhou Daocheng said lightly. Wang Qin's lowered eyes showed a hint of resentment, but he was able to hide it very well. "Senior, I, Wang Qin, am not a treacherous person. I just don't contribute enough in battle. There is no need to expel me, right? Then you will be the main attacker in the next battle. If the attack weapon is damaged, I can lend you one." Zhou Daocheng looked at him and said with a faint smile. Hearing this, seeing that Zhou Daocheng refused to give in at all, Wang Qin's face became more and more gloomy. After hesitating for a moment, he almost gritted his teeth and said, "Since senior is deliberately targeting me, then it's okay not to participate in this action. Please allow senior to find a way out." "Wang, leave now." Zhou Daocheng glanced at him coldly, not paying attention to his words. He just flicked his hand and the clouds and mist behind him dispersed, leaving the way to leave. "Leave here and don't stay, otherwise don't blame my men for being ruthless." End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.